Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Welcome in. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. C. Sparky, Pfeiffer, Charlie Hughes producing today's show. Thanks for tuning in here on a Tuesday. Hope all is well in your world. It's nice outside. The sun is out. There's no threat of bad weather. Like, I don't know about you, just puts me in a better mood, knowing it just feels nice outside. And I'm not thinking about, oh, great, more severe thunderstorms tonight. Oh, God, I don't want to go through this again.
Yesterday, you were all like doom, gloomy.
Dude, I was tired. Like, I was dead dog tired yesterday.
Now it's nice out and you're more energetic. Yes. I think you're just a weather guy.
Yes, I am.
It's always weather dependent.
Yeah, to a degree. Yes, that's very true. So I'm in a much better mood today than I was yesterday. I was just so tired yesterday doing the show. Lots to get to today, for sure. On today's show, Alan Trieu, Midwest football recruiting for Rivals and On3 Sports. We've never had this dude on. I've always wanted to get him on. And with an assist from our guy, Greg Smith, over at Rivals, we were able to get hooked up with him. We were supposed to have him on Friday, was it? Yep. And he just couldn't make it. You know, you got kids to pick up from school, stuff going on. I get it. So we rescheduled for today. Lots to talk about concerning Badgers football recruiting. They got another kid yesterday from Delaware. Also want to talk about Sorgi, who they picked up last week, the 4-star quarterback. We'll get into all of that coming up at 3:20. That's it. There are no other guests. He's the only guest at 3:20. The rest of it is you, Charlie, and me. We're going to chat on all kinds of different topics throughout today's show. We're going to start off talking about the Green Bay Packers. Today is normally a day that we would see NFL teams starting to get active. The Packers really no different than anybody else as far as this second wave of free agency, because now this comp pick formula is out the window, right? So now you're not giving up anything. If you sign any of these guys now, you don't lose anything in response to that. And there are some names out there, I'm here to tell you, that potentially would make sense. And I'm curious, from your standpoint, is there anybody out there that makes sense to you that you would like to see them sign this year right now? And all of these guys are going to be cheap because they all need jobs unless they want to retire. Mercedes Lewis, maybe he'll just say, hell with it, I'm done, I'm retiring. Could be. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Is there a name out there right now that you like, that you'd be like, man, I'd be okay with this? I'm going to give you a name. And I know a lot of people probably would love to see the same name, DJ Reader. I would be on that bus. Go get me that wide body and let him disrupt the middle and be a presence from McClellan and Wyatt and so forth. Get me another veteran up there with Javon Hargrave. And I know there's a lot of talk of, wow, they got all these guys. They're not going to sign a veteran. Dude, with all due respect, like some of these guys, it just doesn't make any sense. It just doesn't. Like, okay, so for instance, if we look up and down this defensive line, Devontae Wyatt, there's no extension done that I know of as of yet, right?
Haven't heard anything
so
yet.
Do we know that's happening? I mean, I have no idea. Then you got a bunch of young guys besides him on that offensive line. And for me, that's the one thing where I look at it and go, I'd rather have a veteran than a young guy. If you're asking me right now, if we're in a Super Bowl window, if we're in the, hey, look, we got to do more than just get to the playoffs this year. We need to win a couple games, at least get to the conference championship game with an eye on the Super Bowl and a chance to get to the Super Bowl. I'd like some more proven guys. And I'm going to give you another name that I'd consider trading. And I'm sure the outcry is going to be heard around the state of Wisconsin when I say this on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network. Kyle Brooks, I'm good. We can go. And listen, this isn't to say that he's not a good football player. He is. He gets pretty good penetration when he has the opportunity to get out there and play. It's just not big enough. I need bigger guys. And when I look at Kyle Brooks, while I like Kyle Brooks and I think he's a good football player, If I can replace him with a vet, a wide body that can help me more, I'd do it. Again, 6'3", 296, not small by any means, but smaller than what I want. As far as what I want body frame wise up there, I want big, wide guys, that you could see their bellies hanging out of their pants and all that. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. And DJ Reader can give me some of that.
I know DJ Reader can, but also we're talking about a fourth defensive tackle at this point. And I think Karl Brooks, while yes, he's not that big body guy, I think still has a lot of potential. I think the Packers see that in him. They always talk very highly of Karl.
As they should. He's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So to have him as that kind of fourth guy in that group makes sense to me. I think if I'm looking across the defensive line, it's not defensive tackle really anymore. I think the signing of Javon Hargrave, the drafting of Chris McClellan, I feel a little bit more comfortable with the group. I wouldn't say encouraged, but comfortable. And I think when you go over to the other edge rusher, though, outside of Micah Parsons, that's really where I want to add some more talent, especially in this free agency group. Hassan Reddick's a free agent. And I think you can add a second premier pass rusher when he's at his best, when mentally he's at his best, out there opposite Micah Parsons, that when again, he does want to play football, is playing at a lot higher of a motor setting than maybe Rashawn Gary was going at last season. I think you need to give somebody who's been a proven pass rusher outside of the group that you have now a chance with Micah Parsons.
If you look on here, now, again, this is set up on I'm on our lads right now, and they have their depth chart. So this is set up as a 3-4 defense right now. That is the assumption. Again, we have not heard from Gannon, but that is the assumption. So the assumption right now, that is Karl Brooks, they have slated as the left defensive end. They have Hargrave as the nose tackle with Stackhouse behind him. And they have Devontae White as the right defensive end. The outside linebackers, Micah Parsons and Lucas Van Ness. And then inside, weak linebacker, Edgerrin Cooper, and the middle linebacker, Zaire Franklin. That's what that front seven looks like. Now, let's talk about the names behind those names, right? So behind Karl Brooks, Warren Brinson. Behind Hargrave, Nazir Stackhouse. Behind Devontae White, Chris McClellan, the draft pick. Behind Van Ness, you have Dennis Sutton, another draft pick. Behind Cooper, Tyron Hopper. Behind Franklin, you have Isaiah McDuffie. Behind Parsons, you have Baron Sorrell. Behind Micah Parsons. That's how it looks up. And then behind Sorrell is Colin Oliver. I look at this and go, Lucas Van Ness, he can be gone too. I just don't know if you have any value with Lucas Van Ness. No. There might be more value in return for Karl Brooks than there is Lucas Van Ness. If you ask me, as far as who showed more promise, it's been Karl Brooks to this point.
Van Ness needed to stay healthy last season. He just didn't. And when he was on the field, he was serviceable and he wasn't great. But if he was serviceable for an entire season, you can maybe move on from that. I think when looking at down at Karl Brooks starting in that spot there, if you didn't want him in that spot like you're talking about and you wanted to get another player that fits in that 3-4 defense and a Gannon defense, Sparky, I know you're not going to like this, but Calais Campbell's still out there. He's the perfect player for he's done that his entire career. Yes, he's old. Yes, he may not be able to be on the field for that many snaps, but he's a big body who's going to plug up some lanes. Like, that's the type of guy you're talking about. Just, yes, he's 800 years old.
Yes, he is 800 years old for sure. And he is a favorite of most Packer fans on social media. Like, if you said, who do you want on social media? Calais Campbell wins it in a runaway. He absolutely wins it in a runaway. Do you know how tall Calais Campbell is? How tall do you think he is?
I think he's like 6'6", 6'7", isn't he?
Taller.
He's taller than that, 6'8".
6'8", 315. Again, not necessarily wide by any stretch of the nation, but long. For sure. Last year played in all 17 games, 6.5 sacks, 43 tackles total, 23 solo tackles, 9 tackle for losses last year, 16 quarterback hits. How can you be against those numbers?
You can't.
He's going to be 40 this year.
That's the only downfall.
Do you hear what I said? He's going to be 40.
If you're signing to a 1-year contract, who cares, man? 2-year contract, who cares?
Calais Campbell has not missed a regular season game since 2022. Played 17 games for Atlanta in 23, 17 games for the Dolphins in 24, 17 games for Arizona in 25. Now, I don't know the number that he is going to get, but it's hard to argue against Calais Campbell as far as the numbers that he gave you last year. Who was that coach in Arizona last year?
Jonathan Gannon.
He was in Arizona last year with Jonathan Gannon. I mean, it would make sense if he's looking to go ring chasing. It would make sense that Calais Campbell tries to make one last run with his former D guy and former head coach in Green Bay.
He fits right in. I just think that the only problem that the Packers may have with this is that because he's a 40-year-old guy, he's choosing potentially the last place he's playing in his career. He hasn't really played in any cold weather. I think he played 1 year in Baltimore, and that was it. Other than that, he's chosen to stay out there.
I thought the same thing. 3 years in Baltimore.
He stayed there a lot longer.
So he's played in Arizona most of his beginning of his career, then Jacksonville for 3 years, Baltimore for 3 years, 1 year in the Dome in Atlanta, 1 year in Miami, and then back to Arizona.
He played a lot longer in Baltimore than I was expecting.
3 years.
I mean, so
he was not healthy for an entire season in any of the 3 years in Baltimore.
That's probably
now, is that weather related? I don't know, but he played 12 games. He played 15 games and 14 games in those 3 years.
So you have to find a way to truly sell him on the fact that this will be a Super Bowl caliber team. I think when they're healthy, they proved last season that they can be up to that peak. It's about staying at that peak for a longer period of time. I think Calais Campbell coming into this defense helps you do that.
Asking you, who would you want of what's left out there? We'll read some names for you too. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. 414-677-1250. Hold on. I got to bring something up here. JB in the 920 out getting the first customer cuts of the year. He cuts grass?
I guess so. JB does everything. I think he's talked about doing 100 different kinds of side jobs. He's a handyman.
I seriously, I mean, he's obviously up in the Green Bay area, whatever else, but I seriously need help with my lawn, y'all. I've got enough dead spots in my lawn from last year that I could be a softball field currently in my yard. It is absolutely.
Maybe you could turn into that.
Horrible.
There you go. Little mini field in the backyard.
I'm probably not going to be well liked by my neighbors. I don't think that's going to go over well. From the 414, DJ Reader, Calais Campbell, and Noah Fant are the top of my list. That's Ron in Dallas. I'm in on Reader. Calais Campbell, fine. Noah Fant, tight end, right? Is that who I'm thinking of? I'm thinking of the correct guy, the former Bronco tight end. I don't know, man. If you go get a veteran tight end, then you're either saying you need a third tight end to make this work, or you're saying I need a tight end to go with Musgrave because I think Kraft's going to be out longer than we're telling you. I mean, there's got to be something there because Kraft and Musgrave, to me, good enough. I don't think I need to go sign me personally. Now, not saying you're wrong.
And I don't think
Ron, you could like whoever you want. I'm not saying you're wrong. You like whoever you want. I'm just saying, I don't know from a Packers perspective, do you need another veteran tight end?
Well, and I don't think Ron's alone either. On Twitter, I saw people talking about David Njoku and going out and bringing him in to be a potential second target to Tucker Kraft. I think it's more people not liking Luke Musgrave. I think overall
he catches the ball and falls down. I understand. Y'all don't like it because he doesn't break tackles. I understand. I get it. But if I told you he could average 20 yards a catch, who cares if he falls down after he catches it at 20 yards? It's 20 yards a catch. I mean, he made some diving plays downfield, some catches. He made some nice plays. I understand. He falls down. I get it. But if you could average that type of distance, it's not like he's averaging 3 yards a carry and falls over. They're able to stretch the field with him a little bit and let him go make that play. I
just think people, for some reason, that you can do. And I don't really agree with Noah Fant as much. David Njoku, I do. I think he's a player that can go out there and be a better tight end just overall than what you're getting out of Luke Musgrave. I think he's probably a little bit better of a blocker. I think you've seen him in short yardage, especially last season with the Browns, and it was really fun to watch him in those moments.
Noah Fant's with the Saints.
Wow, he's been all over the place too.
From what I can tell,
something new all the time. But with these types of players, I just think Luke Musgrave, yes, you saw him have those big plays last season. At the same time, he's not giving you anything else. And I think that you would want to find somebody else to fill in that role that's been around the league, a veteran style player that can give you something closer to what Tucker Kraft could give you when he's out to start the season and if he were to get injured again.
Dave and Cudahy texted Nicolay Law Talking text line, hey, Sparky, get Tommy to mow your lawn. He basically does everything else for you.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
I don't need somebody to mow my lawn. I need somebody to either replace all my dead grass. And the reason I have all this
like
dead
clover
area,
lawns. I've been seeing people do that on TikTok and stuff.
do a what?
Clover lawn.
What the hell is that?
Like plant clover seed all around. Apparently it's supposed to like promote the environment or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I didn't do much research on it.
That's great. No, the reason is because I had crabgrass and I had a service last year. I'm talking about this crabgrass. Well, they came and killed it in the fall. I looked it up online. That's the worst time to kill it. So they killed it in the fall and now it's dead. And then we got new roofing put on. So, whoever was putting the roof on, throwing all this stuff on the ground. My neighbor is convinced that either it's the glue or something like that, maybe from the roofing that maybe have killed some more of the grass that we had on either side of the house. So I don't know. All I know is it's the worst my grass has ever looked in the entire time I've lived at a house. I've never had grass look this bad. It's completely embarrassing, and I need it fixed. Okay, 414. It just moved. 1 second here. 414. You don't play 3 nose tackles and a 3-4, Sparky. Van Ness could add 20 pounds and move to playing a 5 technique. Fine. I don't want Van Ness as an outside linebacker. Do you know who I can? This is who I think of. And you can say, oh, white guy for white guy, Sparky. Oh, big reach. And he's not nearly as good as this player. But remember Aaron Campman? Aaron Campman was a down defensive end, was awesome. And then we switched defense to a 3-4, and they tried to stand Aaron Campman up at outside linebacker. And we all went, oh, my goodness gracious. He is not an outside linebacker. What are we doing? I feel like with Van Ness, if they do go to a 3-4 defense, if that's the direction we're going here with this new defense, which, again, Gannon has not talked, but if that is what's happening, it would make more sense to do what you're saying, which is put weight on him and put his hand in the dirt and have somebody else at that other outside linebacker spot. That I agree with 100%.
I don't know. Like, you guys realize Lucas Van Ness is already 6'5", 272. Adding another 20 pounds onto that is not going to be very easy. Like, when you're that big already and he's muscular already, he might get fatter.
He might be big enough already to play down.
Potentially, but we've also, I don't know, like, I just don't trust Lucas Van Ness at this point anymore. Last season, when I went into that season, he was my Joey Ortiz, like he is to you this season, where I thought this is the year he kind of figures it out.
Yep.
Couldn't stay on the field once again. And then when he is on the field, just isn't a consistent enough impact. I don't think moving him into where he's getting blocked by 2 guys instead of 1 guy now is going to make that any better for a Lucas Van Ness.
Hey, my guy JB in the 920. I got you, Sparky. I'll do it for materials and a lunch. Radio family discount. LOL. I appreciate people who want a better yard, and I love working on the barter system for people I like. Ha, ha, ha. Yeah, man, I don't want you to drive all the way down here, man. I love you, but you don't got to come all the way down here for that. No. We'll figure it out. Can't be that hard one way or the other. 414, is Joey Bosa still available? If so, Bosa or Calais Campbell? I don't think Joey Bosa is signed anywhere, to the best of my knowledge. I'm pretty sure Joey Bosa is still out there.
Available. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 1 day ago, 49ers issued strong take involving free agent Joey Bosa. Bears predicted to land Joey Bosa. So, yeah, Joey Bosa definitely still out there. That would be another one that would be something to consider as well. Matt in Minneapolis chiming in from the 612. Hi, Matt. I'm assuming you're listening to the game in Duluth Superior, potentially, or maybe you're streaming us at WI Sports Radio or watching on X or YouTube or Instagram Live or on the Milwaukee Facebook page. Says, I did a clover yard. It's amazing. My dog doesn't burn it, and it never gets crazy long. Also chokes out all the other weeds, it comes in green faster than any other grass. Matt in Minneapolis.
There you go. See, I told you.
Really?
Yeah, I think it looks cool. From what I saw, it looks cool. It's definitely like a little longer, but people like it. Yeah. Are you looking it up now?
You're damn right I'm looking it up. I want to see what it looks like. I don't know what it looks like. Growing a clover lawn. Oh, that doesn't. Well, oh God, all those white flowers though.
What's wrong with that?
No, I don't think I want it. Healthier lawns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, you could revitalize it.
Maintenance,
Sparky.
none. Mow like a normal lawn.
There you go. That's the easiest possible solution.
Yeah,
right?
but it's like biodiversity, pollen and nectar source for bees, wasps, and butterflies. Man, I got somebody that's allergic to bees in my family. I don't need bees flying around on top of everything else.
We can get them a bubble.
Drought tolerant. That's nice, I guess. Vigorous without fertilization. Sure. I mean, it looks nice from afar. Like, it looks like grass, kind of. Yeah, I just don't know, man. Yeah.
Maybe do a little patch of it, see if you like it there.
And
you
then
can
go
just do the
from
rest.
there
Yeah,
and then just grow it out.
exactly. Do you think you were going to get gardening advice?
I didn't. I just brought it up in passing that I was frustrated. And God bless my guy, JB, who's willing to help a brother out. From the 262 from Ziggy, old friend Rajul Douglas is available yet. I don't think he gets more than a couple mil and slots as our second cornerback.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm okay.
I don't know the last time Rajul Douglas had a year. Was it a couple years ago maybe that he was good? Rajul Douglas last year. Oh, he played. I mean, he played quite a bit last year in Miami. Let's see here. 15 games, 13 starts. Did have 2 interceptions. 2024 with Buffalo, 15 games, no interceptions. 2023 between Green Bay and Buffalo. He had 5 picks, 4 of which were in Buffalo in the second half of that year. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm not opposed to Rajul Douglas. If they want to bring back a veteran cornerback to add another veteran to the cornerback room. I mean, Goody did say he wanted to throw numbers at it, so it would make sense if he decided to go sign another veteran corner to that room.
Well, and that would help out while you wait for a Micah Parsons to get back to start the season, or if you're not able to bring in any more help on the defensive front. I think that could be an okay option. I guess I would just rather go for a Trevon Diggs, a guy that you had last season, a Marshawn Lattimore still out there. Andy Herman on Twitter, our old friend at Andy Herman NFL, the Pack a Day podcast, says the Cowboys took a massive cat pit to get rid of Trevon Diggs. The Packers picked him up for $500,000 and proceeded to play him one meaningful snap. Immediately when the season was done, the Packers cut him. No negotiation, just see ya.
Yep.
He was one of the very first players who could sign in the team in February, had a free agency, yet they didn't do it. And now they've drafted 2 corners and signed a veteran. If you're still waiting for Diggs, I'm afraid I've got some bad news.
Well, he's going to go somewhere, I would think. And Diggs has been working out with Micah. So I don't know how much sway Micah Parsons is going to have with the pro personnel department as far as bringing in Trevon Diggs or not. But just do remember, they have been working out together. Hey, Wendy's invited the iconic spicy chicken sandwich. Wendy's new spicy chicken sandwich is crispier and more flavor-packed than ever. And the breading, even crispier. Flavor inside and loud outside. 9 peppers and spices give it that bold, layered heat. Wendy's spicy chicken. Order in the Wendy's app today. CB, downtown Milwaukee. You're next on the Nicolay Law Talk text line here on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, CB?
What's going on, man? I think DeAndre Hopkins may be a good fit for the Packers, so I'm not really sold on Savion Williams. I think he's a bust. I think he can help that other side out, and it still wouldn't take passes away from everybody else.
And DeAndre Hopkins is another one that would make sense, I guess, to a certain degree. But again, it's been a minute since he's had any type of impact. And last year, Hopkins in Baltimore played 17 games, started 3, had 22 catches for 330 yards. He did have 15 yards per catch. So I guess that's okay. But 22 catches in 17 games isn't,
he's a veteran, though, and that's what we need. Veterans at least in every key spot, at least one veteran. That's what we need.
Agreed. No, I don't disagree with you on that at all. Thanks for the call. This whole being youngest team in the NFL every year, being bottom third. I agree you need some vets. But the vets that you would bring in have to have some leadership characteristics and have to be kind of good dudes to kind of show the way. The last thing you need is a Buck situation where you potentially bring in bad apples and destroy everything around you because they're me guys. Like, you don't want to have that situation in Green Bay. So you want to pick and choose who you want. Now, the best way to pick and choose who you want is to go off of the word of other veteran players on this team who have played with some of these guys of like, dude, I've been in the locker room with this guy. Trust me, he's good. We'll be fine. That's what you want. And if you're like, hey, what about this guy? You hope that a Micah or somebody who's played with these guys are like, bad dude, don't bring him in the locker room. Talented, bad dude, we don't want him in here. Sounds good. And then you end the pursuit of said player.
Well, and Gannon was the coach of DeAndre Hopkins too for a little bit, wasn't he? So that's somebody that you can consult on a situation like that for sure.
Let's see here. No, he was not. Hopkins was before Gannon.
Oh, before Gannon.
I think. Well, when was Gannon there? Hopkins last year in Arizona was 2022. Then he was in Tennessee. And then in 24, he was in Tennessee and Kansas City. And then last year in Baltimore. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Again, it was 23, so the year after.
Right. So he was the year after Hopkins. But I mean, the last time
talk to people about him.
The last time he had a big year was 1,000-yard season, 75 catches for Tennessee. I take that back. In 24, between Tennessee and Kansas City, he had 80 catches. No, 80 targets, 56 catches for 610 yards. But again, how much are you going to rely or need DeAndre Hopkins at the end of the day when you have your front three? After yesterday, when I brought up the wide receiver topic, most of y'all were like, hey, we're good. We have our top three receivers, more balls for all three guys, less balls for everybody else. We're happy with this.
Yeah.
Right. So I can't, to turn around now and go do this would be completely hypocritical in my mind, but we'll see how it all plays out. Charlie Houston over there, Steve Sparky Fiver with you here on Wisconsin Sports Daily from the 414. Why does everyone keep wanting these old broke down dudes? All they'll do is hinder the development of the young guys. I'm good. Nobody out there worth stunting the growth.
The young guys worth playing are already on the field starting. Like, I don't think that these veteran players are overshadowing anybody that I'm like, oh, that guy is going to have a huge season this year. Like, if they do, I'm going to be happy about it. But like, I'm not looking at Carl Brooks. I'm not looking at some of these other players and saying, oh yeah, this is his breakout year. I'm looking at that and say that needs to be improved.
Right. You got another one here from Jacob and Toza. Bo Melton will be a first team all pro at cornerback and wide receiver given the chance.
All right, dude. Sure, Jacob. I'll let you rock with that. I like the prediction, the hot take. I don't think it's true, but I like it.
That's pretty good. I mean, there's a fan, there's super fan. Jacob Atosa, Bo Melton, super fan. There's nothing wrong with that. Coming up next, some hype building a little bit or trying to build around Luke Fickell and this Badgers football team with what they've been doing with recruiting. But is it enough to change anybody's opinion of how good they might think this Badger team might actually be this year? Because they've got a top 25 portal class. They got a top 15 recruiting class for 27. Those kids are not here yet, obviously. But there is definite momentum for the first time since before he coached his first game. This is about as much momentum as they've had. But has it changed your opinion of how good they may or may not be? That's the question. Nicolay Law Talking text line 414-677-1250. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. Welcome back. It's Wisconsin Sports Radio Network here, live on the Wisconsin Sports Daily Show. See Sparky Fiver, Charlie using over there. You laughing? That made no sense to you, did it?
No, you worked it. You made it work. That's a professional right there, baby.
I said it, and I still don't know what the hell I said. I have no freaking clue.
Of course, Tommy has to walk up to a microphone.
He's over here. He's going to come get me. It's all right, though.
I don't know. Was Charlie talking ish? I just wanted to update you.
He wasn't even listening to the show. He was sitting right there. Doesn't even listen. Doesn't even listen to the show.
No,
right there on the couch.
I try to tune you out
What do you want?
as much as possible. Jackson Trieu and Andrew Vaughn are both heading to Nashville to begin rehab assignments tomorrow. They're estimated to rejoin the Brewers on May 4th in St. Louis. That coming from
May the
Sophia
4th be
Minner.
with you. I'll just get a head start on it.
That's what you got from that? You made a Star Wars reference after
That's all you're going to
that?
see on May 4th. I promise you. That's all it is all day.
All right. Well,
Yeah,
I just wanted to
with
update you as soon as I just got it right here. It just came out right now.
It kind of
You're
makes
not
sense.
excited about Trieu and Andrew Vaughn.
It kind of makes sense, though, that they would come back on May 4th because the Force will be with the Brewers when those two get back to this damn lineup. Thank God.
Who is this guy
Who's
right
Yoda
now?
on this team? Is it
Get him on the
Yelich?
next comedy show,
Well,
Tommy.
Is Yelich
I mean,
Yoda?
it's very obviously Sal Frelick because he's the shortest guy, right?
Yeah, but he sucks. He can't be Yoda if you're not good.
What is
He's hitting like 200.
Is Chris Hook Yoda? 'Cause he works with all the pitchers.
Oh,
Who did he say?
Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is Chris Hook, I think. Chris Hook might be Obi-Wan. Is Pat
Okay.
Murphy Yoda then?
Pat Murphy's Yoda? He's the old guy, right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Pat Murphy's Yoda. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right. I had another joke about Ewoks, but I'm not going to say it.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave
Team
it.
full of Ewoks? Is that what you're going to
I
say?
had Ewoks. I'm not going to let it go.
Gosh.
No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to let
Andrew
the Tim
Vaughn.
Allen.
Who's Andrew Vaughn?
Uh,
Churio is Skywalker, right? He's
who's
the main
Chewbacca?
character. Greg Jones.
Garrett Mitchell.
Garrett Mitchell is what
He's
you
the
say? What did you
hairiest,
say?
I said Greg Jones.
That's nice. Charlie said Garrett Mitchell because he's the hairiest.
Oh God. is that confirmed by you, Chuck?
I don't know, man. I don't know if Charlie knows this, but whatever.
I'll do some research.
You're going to do some research. Let's not say you did.
Okay,
No.
yeah. All right. Look
No.
up on the work computer, Harriest Brewers.
No, let's not do that. No. All right, that's enough Star Wars talk of the Brewers. Didn't see Garrett Mitchell being the hairiest guy and being Chewbacca when I started the show today. Real quickly here before we get to the Badgers, Jeff in Greendale, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, good afternoon, Sparky. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, good to talk to you too.
Hey, for your grass thing, just put artificial turf down and be done with it. You don't have to cut it. You don't have to do anything. Just throw artificial
how much
turf
does
down.
that cost?
I don't know. I'm just giving you suggestions, man.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. I got a feeling it's not going to be cheap for me.
No, it would not. It would
Would
not.
not be cheap. And my backyard isn't gigantic, but it's not that small where I could afford.
Sure.
Like if I had a little small backyard, I probably would have already had an artificial turf by this point. All right, Jeff. Thanks for the call. I appreciate it.
Well,
Yeah.
No problem.
All right,
Hold
take
on.
care. Yeah, I mean, hey, artificial turf would be sweet, like for multiple reasons. Like you have a putting green back there, you practice putting. Be easier to like the ground balls, all that stuff. You want to be bouncing and hopping and divots and everything else in your backyard.
Yeah, but then I don't know. Like, I want actual grass. I want to feel like I'm outside. If it's like turf, I don't feel as like grounded.
You don't feel as grounded?
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
You don't feel as connected to the earth. You don't
You don't
like
feel as
that?
connected to the earth. Oh Lord, what are you talking about? Are you one of those people walk around backyard with your bare feet?
No, but I just like
Oh.
being outside and I like experiencing outside. It feels artificial when you're standing on artificial turf.
I will simply say that again, we are way off topic this whole first hour. So we have not been this off topic for quite some time on this show. But I will say this: Tommy works in here, and he's been watching American Idol, and I've been watching American Idol. And the girl that was let go the last week, I guess it was, she's performed everything in bare feet. Like every song on the show, she's in bare feet. And
Are you talking about Kindle?
Yeah, he knows all the names of these
That's
people.
the name that I would expect for somebody.
Some blonde chick.
Okay.
Yeah, in bare feet. Like I don't get it. I don't understand.
She was good though. She was good. Yeah. I don't want to
Because
spoil
she was
anything
grounded
from
and
you.
connected to the earth. Sparky.
Right, that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Grounded and connected to the earth by
Sparky,
being bare feet.
As much of a dad as you are, you don't give off like I love my yard vibes.
First of all, I don't like having the worst yard in the neighborhood. Let's start there.
All right.
I don't need to have.
You okay
like,
being second to last?
For
Like,
instance, yes.
Okay.
But let's just clear something up here. So like Lance Allen at CBS 58 in Milwaukee, sports director, he has like yard wars with people, lawn wars with people, and like he's like over the top psychotic, like probably waters every day and spends a ton of money on water.
Sure.
I'm not spending a ton of money on water and to water every day and all that. I just want it to be green for the most part. That would be good enough.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm looking for. Now, the dad vibe thing, like I don't like bare feet and people running my grass in bare feet. Like I hate that. Absolutely hate it. Put shoes on. No, I don't like it.
Why?
Hate it. Hate
It's
it.
grass.
I've always hated it.
It's not
I
like
don't like
it's
it.
concrete.
Nope.
I
don't
think
like it.
that we should get Sparky to do a TikTok time lapse of like yard work, but him just getting frustrated and like not finishing any of the projects at the same, like, because everyone sees the guys who are mowing the clean lines and the grass looks good, and it's like, oh, that's so satisfying. How relatable could it be if Sparky's like mowing the grass and then he's like flips the lawnmower over and he's like, why is the thing not working? Like during this process.
Something funny. I live on. We have no sidewalk.
Right.
And it goes into a ditch type deal where the water flows in front of the yard, whatever. So there's little old me, like the lawnmower handles like above my head as I'm pushing this thing up the hill, trying to get it up the hill to get it back up on the flat land, go back down and do it all over again. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
very funny, I'm sure, to watch from afar. And we live across the street from a restaurant, so I'm sure I amuse everybody over there when I cut the grass.
We might have struck gold, Sparky.
Yeah.
We could probably make a lot of money on like sped up time lapse, you frustrated and just being done with the yard. And then you do the hand motion thing you do. Oh, what just came in?
I swear to you.
What just happened?
You can look. Nikolai Tonga text line. I have not watched the most recent episode. 414
spoiler for you?
Tom, you already spoiled it for me. 414, and this person must not have watched it either. How the hell is Brooks still on American Idol? He's awful. We didn't even bring up Brooks on American Idol. All I know is just watch the most recent edition of American Idol. I did not watch it. I don't know what happened. Tom, you already watched it.
I will say this.
I'll watch it tonight.
Brooks never got better. Brooks was good from the jump.
How's he gonna get better with that voice?
He never got better. It was the same. He's got Brooks also got screwed always by the producers.
Oh, geez.
Terrible song choices from Brooks all the way along. Brooks has the most unique voice I've ever heard on American Idol in the history of the world.
Do you know what he should be singing? Do you know what he should be singing?
Yeah.
Children's songs. Because he sounds like a child.
No,
that's what he should be singing. Adult songs, out of there. Children's songs, perfect for him.
No, he's not a
He'd
coach.
go there and do Baby Shark over and over again.
Right. He'd be a hit with like kindergartners, first graders, second graders.
I showed Charlie Brooks and he was like, dude, that guy was great.
No, he did not say that.
No, he's not.
No, he did not say that.
How do you know?
Because I was standing right there.
No, I
said this dude sounds like he's 5.
All the way back in Hawaii, he was awesome.
I don't remember ever hearing this guy.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
no, he did not say that. Oh, you're making stuff up. No, he did not. He was standing right there. He did not say, this guy's awesome. Wow. He started laughing and said, boy, Sparky, you're right. That's what he said.
Sparky forgets some important things sometimes that he remembers when I said it randomly about this one.
He remembers when he's right.
When I'm right, I remember.
Gosh.
Yeah. If
no
I'm wrong,
wonder your head got that big.
Yes, that's very true.
I only remember when I'm right.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, when I'm right. Because I'm
going to steal that.
Hey,
I love that.
When I'm wrong, as much as I'm wrong, I forget all the times I'm wrong. Very rarely am I right on anything. But this one, I remember him agreeing with me on. Most of the time, y'all gang up on me for being an old guy.
Who do you think's going to win now? Because we'll put a pin in it. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you like the most?
I don't know names, man.
Okay, just describe them. I mean, we can do that. I'll get you there. I know the list for sure.
Okay, give me the list.
Okay, so there's Hannah, which is like the woman who's our age, but it's like a mama 3 in a van.
Yeah.
There is Keela. That's the mom that always show her son the whole time.
That too.
Yeah, she's probably gonna.
She's the one.
Jordan McCullough, though, that's the big guy.
Like him, he's not going to win.
Chris, the other big guy with long hair from Minnesota.
He should not have been this far.
He absolutely should not be this far.
No.
Okay, I agree with you on that. And then Braden, the other guy who sounds like Adam Levine, the 23-year-old guy.
Yeah. I like him.
Okay.
But what's her name?
Keela.
Yeah, she's gonna
win. She's
win. By far the best.
She's by far the best.
By far the best. This was over as soon as we heard her sing.
Well,
I'm telling you, She is amazing.
She's unreal. Yeah, she is also the oldest. I think she's 29.
Yeah.
So she's as old as you can be in there.
Cutest kid in the world.
Yeah, I could tell Sparky. Like, I can't look at that kid. I'm
Oh,
going to
right.
cry every time.
That's the other thing about Brooks. And he's dating the girl.
Yeah, for
Rhea,
Ray.
or whatever. Ray.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so dumb.
That was so dumb.
That was so dumb last week.
Because they just turned Brooks into like, oh yeah, see, this guy actually can talk to women. Like over the last 2 weeks, that's all it was.
And then she comes out from behind.
Yeah,
Like,
that was cringe.
Is she gonna propose? Like, are they?
Yeah.
What is going on?
That was cringe.
And he's taken.
Yeah, she's psycho. You can
because
tell,
there were a
too.
lot of
Yeah.
women lining up for this dude to begin with. No.
No.
Come on.
He outkicked his coverage.
Oh my God,
big
yes.
time. And everyone's like, oh yeah, Brooks actually. This whole week, if you watch it, you're going to be cringing even harder. They just keep going into this like, oh, they made a relationship out of this. It's dumb. It's super dumb.
Super dumb. I was talking about American Idol for the last like 7 or 8 minutes.
Gorman Thomas was named the hairiest center fielder in MLB history by Michael Clare, just in case you were wondering.
Are you the one that told me to do some research on this? That was your fault.
Dude.
You told him to do research. I didn't tell him that.
20 minutes on Harry Brewers and American Idol. That's awesome.
I got to say, like, if you go over here to the music stations in our building.
Oh, that's all they talk about.
No, they don't. I brought up that there was a girl on there from
Lake Geneva, right? Yeah.
And her dad was a vet and all of that.
Yeah.
I brought it up. I was like, oh, yeah, we really don't talk about that. Huh?
What? I thought
apparently, it's
the
a thing of the
music
past.
station doesn't talk about American Idol.
No, apparently it's a thing of the past. They don't do it as much anymore.
Wow,
I don't know.
I'm disappointed.
But you and I talk about it every
all
week.
the time. Yeah.
So next time we do Idol, you and I will do a podcast.
Oh, Idol well, they have the official Idol
I don't
podcast
care.
that they shove down your throat the entire show.
I'd rather
too.
listen to you guys talk about
that's
it.
fine. Yeah, but you and I should do like a 15-minute podcast every week on.
Yeah, I'll do that.
I think that would be fun.
I would totally do that. I made my roommate pick five people he thought could win from the beginning. After auditions were done, 5 people you could think could win. So there's one name left, and it is Jordan.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, from the beginning, and I think he still can win. But I think Keela's running away with it. She's unreal.
She doesn't win.
Did you cry during her Lion King performance?
Did I what?
I mean, mixing Disney Week and American Idol for you was probably just unreal. And when she sang "Circle of Life," I thought for sure that would bring you to tears.
I don't think I could tell you the last time I cried.
Really? You never like Jackson's first baseball hit? You weren't like a proud dad?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Kids being born? No.
No?
No.
That's just another day in the life of Spark.
Yeah.
He's like, I thought it was going to be a girl, so I forgot. Like,
but then the other one was a girl. I thought that was a boy. I'll do Wisconsin Sports Daily live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. I have no idea what we're talking about next. Maybe it's Badgers. Maybe it's not. Stay tuned. I'm gonna miss this song. I really like this song.
You just put it back. You got 3 selections yourself.
I know, but this already went through. Like, I really like this. This is a good song. I didn't realize how much I like this
We
song.
could do a different. Isn't the Shine Down? We could do a different Shine Down.
Yeah,
Song for you
I really like that song. Hey, what I also really like are my friends over there at Potawatomi. Step up to the plate, take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel, Milwaukee. April through June, you can win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Coming up in the 3 o'clock hour, let's talk about the Crew. And buddy, Charlie brought some ideas to the table about getting rid of prospects in this Brewers system. He brought a new name to the table and said, Sparky, what would you deal for this guy? It's a major need for the Brewers. The team he's on stinks. It makes sense. It's a short-term deal. What would you do? And I was like, well, damn, that's really good. Let's talk about it. So get ready with your Brewer prospect list. Talk about trading Luis Pena and some of these other cats possibly. That's coming up next here at the top of the hour. Then Alan Trieu, Midwest football recruiting analyst for Rivals and On 3. Talk about this top 15 Badgers football recruiting class. They got another kid yesterday from Delaware with a verbal commit. Charlie Sounds of the day coming up at 3:40. People asking what the hell that last segment was all about. I don't know. I don't know. Sometimes it gets off track. And I will say confidently that Charlie and I rarely ever get that off track in a show. Oh. Very rarely have we ever just not talked sports and went completely away from it like we just did with Tommy.
People were encouraging us, though. Too.
Well, not really. Somebody just brought up Brooks, and then it all blew up.
Yeah, that's true.
And I read
One
it.
person encouraged
If I don't read the Brooks text, we never get to that point, so it's kind of on me, but it was fun. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Let's talk about the Crew and trades. Time now for your fan weather forecast, brought to you by Integrity Exteriors. Right now, 64 degrees outside, partly cloudy skies. Looking like cloudy skies coming up tonight with a low of 45 degrees.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
Live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Steve Sparky Pfeiffer with you. Hope all is well in your world here on a Tuesday. Don't forget, you always can stream us live on X, on YouTube, on Instagram Live at WI Sports Radio. Also the name of the website at wisportsradio.com. And you can also find us on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well. Working on flipping that over to WI Sports Radio eventually. We'll get to it for sure. Okay, so it is 3 o'clock. We'll have Alan Trieu coming up in the second segment from Midwest. He's Midwest football recruiting analyst for Rivals and On3. Charlie Sounds of the Day comes up at 3:40. But Charlie walked in here today with an idea. I'm telling you, makes a lot of sense, people.
It's time to talk about the crew. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, here we are on a Tuesday, April 28th. Now, yesterday we did a topic in the 4 o'clock hour asking if people were just overreacting maybe to the fact that this Brewers team is just, essentially hanging out around 500, just above 500 and acting like they're 10 games under 500 and so forth. We talked about that. Now, this move that Charlie is going to bring up and throw out as a possibility would be a reaction to what we've seen so far at a position. But realistically, there doesn't seem to be an answer for this position, at least not for this year at this point. Now, what we talked about yesterday was Joey Ortiz taking some ground balls at third base before a game this weekend. Joey Ortiz has played third base before. The reason you do this is because you are getting him ready potentially to be the third baseman when calling up whichever it ends up being, Jet Williams or Cooper Pratt, to come up here and play shortstop for the Brewers. Ortiz moves to third and you move forward from there. Now, one would think that it will be Cooper Pratt, obviously, because he has a long-term deal at shortstop. And then Joey Ortiz goes to third. Now, Joey Ortiz at third base is going to be good. He was good there prior when they first made that trade, and he got to play third base, which was fine. Joey Ortiz offensively is still probably not going to be great, even though I thought that this was going to be his year. Through a month, not so much. Now, that could always turn around and change and do something else. But give credit to Charlie Usen, who put everything together here and said, there is a player out there that could be an immediate impact bat to add to this lineup. You have the number one farm system in baseball to go along with that. And it would make a lot of sense potentially to go out and make a move. Who are we talking about? How about this dude right here?
Coming deep into right field. Back it goes. A moonshot for Mooney. The Sox take the lead here in the seventh. And everyone who has stuck out this 3-hour rain delay is loving it.
That was really stupid last night. They didn't get first pitch till like 9:45
So
last night in that White Sox game.
Delay the game. Do a doubleheader. That's so
That
dumb.
was beyond dumb. But regardless, Murakami is absolutely crushing the ball for the Chicago White Sox. Highlight courtesy of White Sox TV there. Absolutely crushing it. Now, if you don't know what he's been doing, his average, not great. 243. I believe better than Joey Ortiz probably still, right?
Yes.
On base percentage, however, pretty good. 373. Slugging 592 for an OPS of 965. He has 12 home runs in 103 at bats in 29 games right now. So you are literally talking about a guy, and again, he's 26 years old at this point. And he already, he just had his birthday. So he just turned 26 a couple months ago, month and a half ago. Plays first, plays third, all that fun stuff. Would you do it, Brewers? Would you potentially give up a couple of prospects to try and go land this guy? Now, in the break, Charlie Usen went and looked at his contract to see what kind of numbers we're talking about.
So this season he's making $16.5 million. Next season he'll be making $17.5 million, and then he is an unrestricted free agent in 2028.
2 years.
So you'd have him through the rest of this season, all of next year, with the possibility of re-signing him if that's what you wanted to do. So we keep talking about all these other players that the Brewers may want to give contracts to. Maybe you'd want to give one to this guy right here. I mean, Murakami, he was a guy that I really liked coming into the season. I was so surprised when all these teams decide to kind of pass on him, and he goes to the Chicago White Sox out of all places. The White Sox are not doing well right now. They're 12-17, only one game better than the Kansas City Royals, who also have a lot of pieces that maybe the Brewers could be interested in if they wanted to make some moves. But I'm looking at the White Sox right now. Like you said, Murakami has the 12 home runs. He also has 22 walks to start off the season.
That's why that OPS is so high.
He also has 41 strikeouts, so he has a lot of just really tough swings that he's just trying to take daddy hacks, send them into the stands. But he also has a really good eye when he wants to. And I think working with the Milwaukee Brewers, with their hitting system, with Pat Murphy, he can work on that and hone that really well. And then defensively, he's been a lot better this season at first base than a lot of people expected him to. If you were to move him back over to third base, like he played a little bit when he was over in Japan, you could try doing that. But at the same time, he's still overexceeded expectations so far. And I think you could really capitalize on that, especially with how many players are sitting in the Brewers minor league system right now that are also overexceeding expectations.
He has no stolen bases.
No,
that's anti-Brewer, right? I mean, we're just being honest. That's anti-Brewer. He has no stolen bases. Defensively, I don't think he's winning a Gold Glove necessarily at third base either. I don't think that is going to be a thing for him either at this point. But
Andrew Vaughn had 0 stolen bases for the Milwaukee Brewers last season.
Yes, and Pat Murphy made fun of him religiously about him not being fast. So I think now you would have two guys in this lineup that potentially aren't probably going to steal between first and third base. But you take this dude and you put this dude in this lineup, and all of a sudden, now let's just play to what I want the lineup to be. Forget what Murphy's going to do. Let's just say from my perspective, because I really believe this would help Sal and get him going again if he would just leave him there. If Sal Frelick is leading off and Turang is batting second, Trieu is batting third, Yelich is batting fourth, Contreras fifth, and then you get this cat here batting sixth in Murakami, and then Garrett Mitchell is seventh, Andrew Vaughn is eighth, and then ninth is Cooper Pratt. Good night now. It's been real. Like, that offense is going to mash. And not only is it going to mash, it's going to score a ton of runs. And you're not going to need to worry about the back end of that bullpen every day, seemingly like we do now, trying to get a win on a consistent basis. Slug's going to go way up. Power's going to be there. Like, I don't know. To me, I'm in. Like, I don't got to think twice about this. I'm in. Let's have the conversations with the White Sox now and see if we can get this cat. And he potentially can win Rookie of the Year, too. He's battling for Rookie of the Year right now.
Chuck, did you say that was his 12th home run?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So his 12th home run of the year. Do you know how many the Brewers have this season?
I do know.
Here
how
comes
many they
the
have
good
this
news
season.
from Tommy.
Do you guys know how many they have?
The Brewers, I believe, are currently tied for last place with the Giants with 19 total home runs.
Brewers have hit 9 home runs if your name is not Jake Bowers or Gary Sanchez. 9 all year the Brewers have hit. So Murakami, if you remove Murakami from the White Sox, they still have more home runs than the Brewers. Murakami has more home runs than if you add the first two Brewers home run leaders up. I mean, I like the deal, but you're going to have to give up Pena. You want to give up Pena?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
I'm well okay with that.
Listen,
No, just
hold
for
on.
2 years.
Let's
for
just
2 years of a guy.
Hold on.
Pena's on a tear.
Hold on. Just hold on a second. Now, I don't want to fight with you about this because I know you're very emotionally attached to these guys in the minors. And I tend to be a little bit, not as much as you. But just tell me, how does he play in 3 years on this team?
Pena?
Where is he playing?
He's going to be your next Caleb Durbin. Like, he's going to play.
He better be a hell of a lot better than Caleb Durbin.
I'm just saying, like, he's going to be the short guy playing third base because they're going to put Madej. They're going to have some combination of Madej, Pratt, and Pena playing the second, short, third, with Jet Williams being part of that option. Four
Where's
four guys.
Fisher playing?
Yeah, Andrew Fisher.
That would be at first base.
What about Blake Burke?
No, Fisher's going to jump him for sure. Burke's going to be a part of the team, maybe as the DH.
See, and I think maybe you'll be right. But I think it's going to be Fisher at third, shortstop is Pratt, second base is Madej, and Pena gets moved in one of these deals to get somebody.
If Murakami was seriously considered a trade candidate, I would put him near the top because of the other ones. If you go to like Spot Track, they have the potential trade candidates. I believe shortstop, the name I would like would be CJ Abrams. If they're going to go out, they're going to go out and spend high money, high capital in their farm system on Major League ready, CJ Abrams, a guy who has some pop, more pop than any of the other ones do at shortstop at the Major League level right now, and he can still steal some bases. You can put him in a premium spot of like 3 through 5, somewhere in that lineup. I would rather them give up their draft capital for a guy like CJ Abrams as opposed to a guy like Murakami, who is guaranteed to be gone after that year.
Correct. You're just trying to fill 2 years and wait for Fisher to get here. That's all you're doing. This is a
And what happens if
for
the
2
strikeout
years.
bug bites him in October?
What happens if it does? It's still better than running what you have out there currently. Would you rather have Rengifo out there in October at third base?
Rengifo.
Joy Ortiz at
First
third
of
base?
all,
hell no.
I love my co-host Tim Allen. No one loves Luis Rengifo more than Tim freaking Allen. He's just like, oh my god. He's like, my boy Rengifo coming up.
He just like saying that.
Like loves Luis Rengifo, and I just don't see it. I don't see it. I understand he's been very unlucky. It seems like he hits the ball hard every game, and it just finds a glove. They play him ridiculously deep every time. Murakami, however, I also believe has some nerd stat on baseball of the luckiest, like most field and weather related home runs helping out his statistics right now, which you remember one of those home runs was not going to go out if Sal Frelick didn't touch the baseball that one and completely misplay it. But I like the idea, of getting just someone with thud. You know me, I liked Chris Carter when he was here, and he's the exact same player as Chris Carter. That is and everyone hated Chris Carter when he was here. What are you looking at me for? Don't give me those eyes. That is exactly what Chris Carter was. What is Murakami's batting average right now, Chuck?
243.
Yep.
He's hitting 240. Okay,
he's got
it's
a 370 something on base percentage though. His OPS is like over 900.
Chris Carter hit 41 homers his last year with the Brewers and hit 212. That's what Murakami's going to end with at the end of this year.
40 home runs?
40 homers, betting 220.
Bye.
For 220.
For 40 home runs?
Yeah.
Bye.
Okay, then ask a guy like Chris Carter to come back. It's the exact same type of player.
Yeah, but Chris Carter was 29 when he was like, this is a guy that could potentially be doing that at 26.
Just because he's younger as opposed to the production
I
of
just
it.
think
Now
that-
we're back to the Calais Campbell
I
argument.
think that makes it more likely that he can continue that.
I just want power at third base for 2 seasons until Fisher gets here to hold this down long term.
Fisher's not going to be.
That's
Fisher will be
all I
up
want.
next year. He'll be up next
No,
year.
he won't.
Yes, he will. He's going to go up to Double-A at some point this year, and if he does the same thing, they're going to fast track him. He's a college guy. He's young already. He's going to get the fast track. Absolutely, he will. You think Madej is going to be up next year?
Yeah.
Yes.
I hope so.
Yes.
And they're going to this year.
They're going to move. Luis Rengifo ain't going to come back. He ain't going to be a Brewer next year.
I hope not.
No. And I'm telling you that I would do I would flirt with the idea
Even
of
if it's
Murakami.
not- even
I
if
would
it's
have
not Pena,
rather
though.
them traded Cooper Pratt for Murakami.
Okay, I was going to say,
Fine.
who's the best prospect that you would give up for Murakami then?
Well, realistically, Jet Williams based on the
Sure.
rankings, but they're not going to trade him after they just got him. But I don't really want – if Pena's going to go, I want a bigger name than Murakami. That's where I'm at. I would be willing to part ways with Pena for a bigger, more proven name.
Here's the list. Madej is number 1. Pena's number 2.
Yep.
Jet Williams is 3. See ya. I don't need Jet Williams.
Well, he's just they're not going to trade him after just trading for him.
I'm just telling you personally, he can be
yes.
gone in this deal. I would be fine. Cooper Pratt is 4. They just signed him. Highly doubted. Andrew Fisher's 5. No chance. Logan Henderson?
Yeah. I'd part ways with Logan Henderson.
I'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that might get it done.
They got way too many pitchers.
And Logan Henderson is balling in AAA right now.
Yeah, I mean, as much as he did last year for the team in his limited time, I would totally move on from Logan Henderson for a guy like a Murakami, sure, maybe.
Yeah.
But one for one, you ain't getting any more.
If you're the White Sox, I mean, it makes sense. Now, Marco Dingus is a guy that I like a lot. But if Carroll's
but
answer,
you want to sign Contreras.
I do. But we all know that's probably not going to happen.
Sure.
But if Jefferson Carroll is that guy, and it appears he's starting to get healthy and starting to look like Jefferson Carroll again in Nashville, if he's the guy and it's not Dingus, he's another guy that's going to be dealt at some point because he's going to be blocked at the major league level. And I have not heard of him playing any other position to this point.
No, he's a catcher all the way.
And he's got some pop too.
Are we going to go to a T-Rats game this year? Because we said we were going to do that last year and we didn't.
I was looking at dates in May.
Okay.
Actually, last week.
All right. Yeah. We'll have to figure that out because that team is super fun to watch right now too. I would give up
maybe
Pena
this
for
weekend.
a month.
Are they home this weekend?
Oh gosh, I don't know off the top of my head.
Look and see if they're home this weekend. Maybe we can go this weekend.
This weekend,
if they're home,
yeah, we'll let Tim run the board and do it all by himself.
He'll be fine.
Too. Yeah, he'll get it. He'll figure it out.
We'll do the show from the T-Rats game.
Oh yes, I love this idea.
And then you could just bring guys on if they end around the same time on a Sunday.
We should do a Northwoods League tour. Might as well do that too. There's some Kingfish ties here. Not just me, Tim Allen too.
I have Kenosha Croaker ties, not Kingfish ties.
Oh, I didn't realize that was such a.
Croakers were the first Northwoods League team.
Right, back in
Kenosha.
like the 90s.
Right.
They are home against Quad Cities.
Oh, and I know someone who works for Quad
What
Cities.
time
Friday night is the Luis Pena bobblehead giveaway.
Oh,
wow. Do we just come up with an idea on air right here?
Yeah. What time are the games on Saturday and Sunday for the T-Rats?
1:10 and 1:10.
On Saturday and Sunday?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, let's talk. I think Saturday or Sunday.
What's
I think that could be fun.
That would be awesome. Yeah, I'd be totally down to do that. But back to the topic, Murakami for Logan Henderson, straight up. Sure, I'll listen. But you ain't getting anything more. You ain't getting nothing. You can take your pick of a guy on the Warbirds, I guess.
How about Adam Shevsky?
Hell no, that guy is a stud. He is gonna go through the roof on these prospect rankings when they come out.
Are there any prospects?
Logan Henderson is 6th. He's 10th.
No, I'm telling you, Adam Chesky, when in the late, he'll be a top 100 prospect. I think he will. I really do. Is this Pipeline you're looking at or Baseball America?
MLB.com. So Pipeline.
Mm-hmm. Maybe Adam Chesky they already did redo them all because I think, Sproat wasn't there, right? Sproat was there number 5 originally.
No,
Sproat's not there. So Adam Chesky just moved in because Sproat graduated.
Yeah, Sproat's not even on the list.
When they redo prospect rankings this year, Josh Adam Chesky will be a top 100. Adam Shevsky,
yeah.
Adam Schefter,
like
Adam
Chev,
Shevsky?
like Chevy, Chev.
Okay,
Adam Shevsky.
I'm
just telling you. McKelvey tweeted out the pronunciation today, so
he will be a top 100 prospect in these new rankings.
Luis Lara.
If you're not going to bring him up to the bigs, might as well send him somewhere, right?
He's 21. He's 5'7".
Oh my gosh! I mean, everyone
and Jet Williams. I mean,
they're combined to be as tall as Trevor Thomas.
But his numbers are stupid.
I know he's a
Luis
stud,
Lara
man.
Right now at AAA, he's 21, so like 5 years younger than the average. Through his first 26 games, 347 average, 1,000 OPS, 5 home runs already.
Which he only hit 2, I believe, last year. Yes.
A walk to strikeout rate of 1-to-1 walk to strikeouts, 170 WRC plus. He's kept the swinging strike percentage below 5%.
Yeah.
Doesn't turn 22 till November.
What are you going to do when Sal Frelick and Luis Lara and Jackson Trieu are the outfield and it's a combined, is Trieu 6 feet tall? He's probably listed.
Yeah,
at
he's
6
over
feet tall.
6 feet. Yeah.
But Lara and Frelick are both 5'7", right? Frelick might give him an
There's
inch
no
on
chance they're all here. There's no chance. There's no way. You have to.
What is Lara? Lara's like their 12th prospect right now?
13th?
11th. Again, straight up, I'll do Lara for Murakami, sure. But again, you're not getting you're not getting 2 top 15 prospects from Murakami. I hate that. No, absolutely not.
No, that's fine. I'm fine with 1 and then whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Henderson probably scares me away if Lara's available. Yeah, I'd give him Lara.
I just think if you're the Brewers, you got to call. And if you're the White Sox, you have to listen.
You should
'Cause
hang up.
He's got 12 right now. What are the odds he hits 12 every month? Slim to none if I'm the White Sox. So if I'm the White Sox, I've got to be like, all right, man, let's talk. He's got 12 home runs in the month. What do you want to give us?
At least one more prospect. Again, I think you could not 2 top 15, but a 15 and a top 30 guy, another top 30 guy. Yeah, I'd do that.
I'm totally in on this. 920 Murakami just signed this offseason. We know. Brewers had no connections to him, I believe. Why would they give up a prospect now when they could have just signed him? Because they didn't want to spend all that money, man.
It's really Brandon Woodruff's fault, right?
They were well, to a degree, but they were trying to gap your third base. That's what they were trying to do. Just get through this year good enough and then get there.
Did you have Harris Tour on since he said that payroll's going to go up?
I've not. Well, the Admiral season's over, so no.
So you can't.
We can reach out to him.
Yeah,
he'll come back on again.
You got to
but
tell
technically,
him.
I think it did go up.
Well, that's because I told you what was going to happen. He knew what he was going to sign that qualifying offer beforehand.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah.
Technically, I think it did go up.
That's your boy, man. You defend your boy. I'll talk to him.
I love Harris. Tim loves Harris too, as far as I know. Yeah,
we'll get him on. I'll give him a piece of my mind.
Charlie, use it over there. Steve Sparky, fly for it's official. Tommy Ward says, make a move for Murakami now. Let's get this done.
That is not what I said.
You said you'd make a move for Murakami.
I said I would
only
hear
one
the
top 15 prospect.
Maybe, yes.
Are you in or not?
Get the break.
Yeah, he's in. He just doesn't want to say it on the radio. Alan True Midwest Football recruiting for rivals and on 3 up next. Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. We'll get back to talking more Green Bay Packers football with you coming up. Green and Gold update each and every day at 4 o'clock. Brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. See Sparky Pfeiffer with you here on Wisconsin Sports Daily. Thanks for tuning in around the state. If you're listening on WNFL in Green Bay and the Appleton area, or if you're listening to the game in Duluth, Superior, or the Fan in Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin, 1250 AM or 1057 FM there, or on the game in Wausau, regardless of where you may be listening around the state. Appreciate y'all listening. Time to talk some Badgers football. I've been looking forward to this for sure. Joining us now, he is Alan Trieu, Midwest football recruiting analyst for Rivals and On 3. Alan, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so first things first. Now, again, understand, and I'm sure you're well aware of this, Badger Nation not so happy with Luke Fickell and how this whole thing has played out. Now, I will say that when they decided to move off Paul Chryst, I don't think there were a bunch of people super mad, but everybody thought it was going to be Jim Leonard. Then when it wasn't Jim Leonard and then went with Luke Fickell, there were still some people mad, even though Luke Fickell had taken Cincinnati to a playoff. Then as we built momentum towards the season, every time they'd put something on social media, meaning they were getting somebody in the transfer portal or they were getting somebody as a recruit, everybody went crazy. He's talking about winning national championships. And now all of a sudden, fast forward, and it feels like he's coaching for his job this year. What do you think what has went wrong for him from a recruiting perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was just when you take over a new job and come to a new area, and a combination of that with changing college football. The way that rosters are built are different. The way that your roster gets plucked over by other schools is different. And when you look at what he did with Cincinnati, a lot of that was done with, finding players who are a little bit under the radar, developing them, keeping them in their program. I can tell you right now, if he finds Sauce Gardner in this day and age with the freshman year that Sauce has, he's battling to keep him on his roster for year 2. So that's something he didn't have to deal with at Cincinnati. So I think just an adjustment period there at that, and I'm glad to see, honestly, that they've started to right the ship here and be able to get this recruiting class going with what they're doing in 2027.
Alan, because of the NIL and because of the money that you're having to pay out and so forth, in basketball, the Horizon League has been for some time a stepping stone league where if you're really good at Green Bay or if you're really good at Milwaukee, they end up leaving to go to a bigger school and a bigger conference at some point, coaches, players, whatever the case may be. Are we seeing that beginning and potentially moving forward with even these Power 5 schools like Wisconsin that can't compete NIL-wise if they do have somebody blow up as far as pretty much guaranteeing that they're going to lose them right away?
I do think that has happened. I think the system will correct itself a little bit. The difference, I think, between basketball and football is I think there's less development that goes in basketball. There's less physical development for sure. You're not having, like someone at an offensive tackle position gain 60, 70 pounds after they graduate high school. So I think in football, schools and kids are going to start seeing the value of staying in one place. And I think Indiana is a good example of that. I know some of those guys, a lot of those guys are technically considered transfers, but a lot of them played in the same system. And when you consider that they were at James Madison before they got brought over to Indiana, and I think that continuity still wins in football. And that's why you see the success of programs like even like a North Dakota State where they're able to keep guys in their program. So I do think that there's some of that where those schools get poached now. But I think when you talk to college coaches, especially in the Big Ten, they really view roster retention, recruiting the guys on their roster, as an extension of going on the road and recruiting. Now you got to start your recruiting right there on your own campus by keeping your best players on the roster.
We have Greg Smith on this program. I've had Greg Smith on this program for, I don't know, about a decade or so, and Mr. Nebraska himself. And we go back and forth about the Badgers in Nebraska. And it's pretty funny because, you had Matt Rule doing his thing while you had Luke Fickell over here, both programs trying to figure things out. Did it maybe work out as well in Nebraska? It certainly hasn't worked out for Wisconsin. But in both cases, how important in your mind is it keeping a fence kind of around your state? Because for the first couple of years of Fickell, up until this current recruiting class, the top guys at Wisconsin have been leaving for Penn State, for Notre Dame, for other places.
Yeah, I do think it's important. I think, this goes back to the last question you asked about your roster getting kind of plucked over. I think a lot of the time, if you recruit homegrown kids, especially kids who grew up going to Camp Randall and grew up wanting to be Badgers, those guys are less likely probably to leave. If they've grown up, that's the place they've always wanted to play, and maybe they've had family play there. There's some lineage there. So I think that helps schools. I think that applies to all schools when it comes to keeping your roster. Is I think you want the kids who have grown up wanting to play in your program. You want to take care of those guys first. And obviously, you've always wanted those guys in your program. But now with the transfer portal, if you're a third generation legacy recruit, that typically helps you retain that kid too once the other programs start, getting in their DMs and trying to tamper.
What about legacy recruits? What about Jack Sorgi, quarterback that they were able to get? Some services have him at 4 stars. Other services have him at 3 stars. What do you think of Sorgi?
Really, really like him. And I said this when he committed. Not every son of a former NFL quarterback turns out. We've seen some who haven't, but I think when you watch Jack, you can see where that pedigree really helps him. He's a guy who really understands the position. When you look at how quickly he gets the ball out. That's what I noticed on his film right away. It's like 2-3 steps. That ball is out. He's very decisive with where he goes with the football. Built similarly to his dad, 6'4", 205 pounds, runs a 4.6 40. So a lot of things to like there. And he was committed to Louisville. So great job by the staff to turn around and get him. That's a position where Wisconsin has gone into the portal fairly frequently. And I think if you can have a quarterback who, like I just said, is homegrown, understands the program at Wisconsin, and can develop there for 3 or 4 years, that's still the ideal. And so that's a huge, huge get for the class. It may not show up as far as him being the top ranked guy in the class, but I think that's one of the most important pickups in this entire group so far.
At running back, they get Kingston Allen, which I think is a big pickup from the Green Bay area, and everybody up at WNFL listening to us there know all about Kingston Allen and how good he is. Another guy that they're looking at and targeting or trying to get is Jason Gibson from down in Texas, a 3-star running back. How good is this one?
Well, first, with Kingston, Gatorade Player of the Year, rolled up tons and tons of yardage. Very surprised, honestly, that he didn't have more schools coming at him, but the Badgers able to get that one at home with Deshaun Gibson. We're actually, Rivals has him a lot higher than everyone else right now. Our evaluation staff loves him. 5'10", 188 pounds, so not the biggest guy, but I think a really, really good when you look at what he could do in comparison to Kingston. Kingston a little bit more of a bigger back, Gibson more of this in-space guy. You can throw it to him. He's a guy who can change the scoreboard in a hurry, and certainly a guy who's very dangerous once he gets out into open space.
As we talked about this earlier, talking with Alan Trieu, Midwest Football Recruiting, Alan's for Rivals and On3. Follow him on X at Alan Trieu. It's TRIEU. While we stayed in the state, and this whole class, almost the entire class, are all Wisconsin kids. The other thing that you notice is they're starting to secure guys that are on the offensive line a little bit more to go along with it, with Ethan McIntosh getting secured being one of them, Hunter Mallinger getting committed, and his brother Reese. They're starting to get the big guys again, and for so long under Barry Alvarez and Brad Bielema, they kept all those big offensive linemen that Wisconsin tended to produce every year in the state, and for the first time under Luke Fickell, it feels like he's been able to keep those big guys too.
Yeah, and that's what makes this, I think, feel like it must be like a sigh of relief for Badger fans, because it feels like a classic Wisconsin class with those homegrown kids, and especially along the offensive line. And those guys had plenty of opportunity to leave. And I think, as you mentioned in some other cycles, some of those guys did leave the state. So I think that Wisconsin really, really emphasized that. They just were absolutely not letting these guys leave the state. Did a really fantastic job recruiting them. And the other thing to note here is you have a new offensive line coach in town, in Eric Mateos, and I've really been impressed with what he's done on the recruiting trail so far. You expect the homegrown kids to be a layup. These guys were not necessarily layups. The Mallingers had plenty of opportunity to go elsewhere. Cole Ryder obviously had the whole country coming after him. So did a really, really good job to close those guys down and get them around each other a lot, because there's a lot of pure recruiting going on in this class. I mean, the tight end, Coors Loken, he should probably get an assist as one of the best recruiters in this class.
Which is a beautiful thing. As far as this recruiting class goes, how much more do you expect for it to be added, and where do you think it ends up when it's all said and done?
Yeah, so at 10 commits right now, The numbers have always been fluid when it comes to recruiting classes, but now with, guys leaving in the portal and all that, it's always super fluid now. But I think, they'll go to get close to 20. And they've got a lot of guys coming in on official visits this summer. I'm starting to feel like they're in really good shape for a couple of guys on the board, a couple of out-of-state guys like a Cooper Ohnmacht, 4-star athlete from Kansas. I think Wisconsin's going to be right there for him. Cooper Ohnmacht is his name, from Great Bend, Kansas, 4-star athlete.
How big is he?
I think with 6 feet, 185 pounds, probably a safety,
Okay.
DB.
All right.
Yep. So they've got him coming in for an official visit. I think they're one of the top schools there. Elijah Shaw is one to look out for. 6'8" offensive tackle from out of Kansas. He was on campus in the spring, and he's going to come back through for an official. The interior of the D line is where I think they're going to focus a lot of their efforts. So they've got quite a few guys coming back for official visits. This kid, I want to struggle on this last name, Zacagnino from Connecticut. I think Wisconsin's in really, really good shape for him. So keep an eye on that one.
I love it. All good, positive stuff. Check him out on X. He's really, really good at what he does. And Alan Trieu, Midwest football recruiting analyst for Rivals and On3. Thanks so much for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, anytime, guys. Thank you.
Bet you. Take care. There he is, Alan Trieu, joining us on the guest hotline. Powered by Gruber Law. One call. That is all. Coming up next, Charlie's Sounds of the Day. The Queen of Spice, Wendy's, has taken their already hot and juicy beef and making it, well, hotter with the new jalapeno ranch cheeseburger. It's out with jalapenos and ranch for the perfect balance of heat and flavor, but it's only available for a limited time. So get a bite while you can. Check out Wendy's today and download their app while you're at it too. Charlie Sounds of the Day, straight ahead. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky here. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiver, Charlie Usen. New bumper music starts on Friday. I got to get that list from Charlie so we can put all of it into the system. So we are ready to start this thing on Friday. Looking forward to seeing what all these songs sound like. Just please nothing slow. Like that's all I've been asking.
Take off the couple Robert Miles suggestions.
Gonna kick you. You know where? Just you need to stop with this Robert Miles stuff. You need to slow down. It is that time. Instead of Charlie trying to be funny, let's see what he's got.
1, 2, 3.
What sound clips will Chicago Charlie pick today for Sparky? Will Sparky become enraged? Will laughter ensue? It's time for Charlie's Sound of the Day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
All right, Charlie, use it. Where to first?
All right. So for all our clips today, we're heading out to Madison and Badgers football spring practices. I don't know about you guys, but I'm getting pretty excited about the Wisconsin Badgers and this football team. No. And I'm starting to buy in a little bit, Sparky. I know you're not. I know Tommy's not. I don't like. So
I'm trying not to get burned again. I'm trying not to get my hopes up to get burned again.
Well, maybe I got 3 clips here that could potentially change your mind.
I'm willing to listen.
We were just talking with Alan Trieu about this year's recruiting class for the Wisconsin Badgers. Coming out of last year's recruiting class, you had quarterback Ryan Hopkins, who's a true freshman going into this year. This is quarterback coach Kenny Guyton discussing Ryan Hopkins and whether or not he expected him to be this good already. Oh, if I can get it to play.
I just told him last week, no, I have not. I mean, even when I was a receivers coach, obviously I've only been 1 year in coaching the quarterbacks, but I don't know if I've ever had a high school senior who come in and splitting reps with the tools, you know. And so, like I said, I just think it's the full package. I don't think it's just one good throw or being able to make a throw. It's the total package of being a leader and knowing exactly what he's supposed to do and doing it at a very high level.
If you follow any of these guys like Jay Kokorowski with Badger Observer, or if you follow Colton Bartholomew or a guy Steppe over there at the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, you follow any of these dudes, John McNamara, you will see all of them talking about Hopkins. Mm-hmm. They've been talking about Hopkins nonstop through this whole thing. And that is impressive. Now, do you want to hear the negative?
Sure, let's hear the negative.
The next time this head coach starts one of the high school quarterbacks that he recruited will be the first time that he actually puts a guy out there. Not because of injury, because we saw that.
I was going to say Carter Smith got out there last year.
Yeah, because of 5 guys got hurt in front of him. I'm being sarcastic, but a lot of guys went down. So,
3 guys, I think.
Like after this year, after Colton Joseph is done and he goes on to do whatever he's going to do, if Hopkins actually is sold, you're the starter, I'm not going back into the portal for the first time ever as head coach of the Badgers, then I will celebrate and then I will feel confident that maybe we're turning this thing around. But I need to see that. I need to see him stay out of the portal at quarterback and give it to a guy that he just recruited and be like, you're my guy. Let's roll. That's what I'd like to see. Joseph is just short-term for a year.
You don't think there's any point this season where he gets desperate enough, like if Colton Joseph isn't playing up to that par, to give a guy like this a shot? Just see what you got.
How much did they pay Joseph? I guarantee you it wasn't nothing. So, no, I don't. And now Joseph could get hurt like every other transfer portal quarterback that he brought in which case he's going to get to play right away, and then we'll see what he has. But no, I think if Joseph is healthy, the schedule lines up to be a bowl team. Now, 6 wins is a bowl team. For God's sakes, you better get 6 wins on this schedule. And then that's good enough. He can celebrate a bowl, keep his job for another year, and move forward. I think we still don't have an AD here, so still don't know whether or not the AD is going to come and be like, that's cool, you won 6, congratulations, I got my own guy, see ya, and I'm going to go hire my coach. I mean, that very well could happen. No matter what he does, may not be good enough, and that guy or girl, whoever the AD is, may want to move on. All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to hear from wide receiver Eugene Hilton, who was a part of the Badgers offense, especially in the second half last year as a true freshman. He hit the transfer portal this year, but then decided to come back to Wisconsin. Here's why.
For me, it was kind of, I said this in my last interview, but just making sure what happened last year doesn't happen again. Making sure, because I didn't want to waste another year, and I wanted to make sure that we were going to do things right here. We're going to make big plays. We're going to have the right guys, and not saying that we didn't last year, but I just think that we needed to make bigger strides because obviously we weren't good enough last year. So it was just more so me making sure of that aspect of it, and then coming back, man, I'm so grateful and so blessed to come back here, and just knowing that, I feel like we got the right guys, and, knowing that our coaches are going to put us in the right places and the right spots to be successful.
Why are you being such a Debbie Downer over there?
I don't believe him. I mean, I'm sure that's part of it. Fine. But realistically, probably didn't get the money that he wanted. They came up with enough money to keep him, and he came back regardless. That's what I'm going to believe at this point, because you could sell whatever you want to sell, but there's no guarantees this team is going to be any better than last year. You could talk about all the transfer portal guys and their top 25, and that's wonderful, but you got pretty much the same coaching staffs. So the offensive coordinator is the same, defensive coordinator is the same, head coach is the same, all the same leadership, all the same dudes running the ship here. Quarterback's different, fine. So no, I mean, that very well may be. My guess is he didn't get what he wanted in the transfer portal financially. Badgers raised their financial offering to him, and he said, good enough, I'll come back. And that's how that played. That's my guess. And again, T.Y. Hilton's his dad. So really, does he need the money? Probably not.
And next up, you're going to hear from a guy that probably did get a decent contract from the Badgers in the transfer portal. This is defensive tackle Hammond Russell the fourth. He came from West Virginia.
The fourth, like me, baby.
He's a sixth-year senior going and playing for Wisconsin on the D-line this year. He was discussing why he chose Wisconsin and was discussing the Badgers' offensive line.
The environment, the people that was in the building, and how everybody walked, how people talked. It was just very professional to me, and I just enjoyed it. And it didn't feel like someone who was trying to sell me a dream. It felt more of just like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And we're going to mold you into this. And this is how you fit into the defense. Well, it wasn't never any, all right, it wasn't no flashiness. It was just straight business. And I love that. And that's what I want it to be about. Obviously, you want to win every rep. Everything you want to do, you want to win. But this is a different group. Like, it took a second to adjust to being able to practice to guys who they will maul you. Like, they will maul you every day. So you have to fight. You can't come and take a day off, because these guys, they're not coming to take a day off. And I mean, I've seen jumps from the O-line, I've seen jumps from the D-line. We make each other better every day. I mean, it's not a one-sided fight at all. I would say both sides are putting in great fights. And I know if I don't bring my A game every day, they will maul you and they will embarrass you.
That's good. That's all really good. That stuff at the end. The beginning part of this, he put two clips in one, I think. The beginning part of this, he's talking about, well, there's no flash, it was all business. Folks, that's where we are now. Just write a check. Do you have enough? Can you pay me? Cool. All right, we're done. Like, you don't have to bring out cheerleaders and a marching band and everything else now to get kids. Just how much? Good. Write me a check. I'll be there. Like, half these kids don't even care what the campus looks like. They just want to get paid and have a chance to be told they're going to go play, and they're not going to sit on the bench, and good enough. Thank you to the 715 who texted in, said Joseph actually has 2 years left. He's right. Red shirt junior. And as the 715 points out, Joseph has 2 years left. Hopkins probably gone after this year if he is really ready to play. Nature of the beast. Oh, I will not be.
If we're already talking about him like this as a true freshman, and then he's just gone like that.
Don't even get to see him. I'd be livid. Habish Rotier, they will put a smile on your face. They'll make you feel better about things. National reputation, hometown service. Been around for almost 100 years. 1930, baby. That was a long time ago. And 13 locations around the state. Whether you're listening to WNFL in Green Bay and Appleton area, or if you're up in Wausau listening to the game, or southeastern Wisconsin on the Fan, all over the place. Kenosha, Lake Geneva, Racine, Milwaukee, Waukesha, all over 13 different places for you. And again, the most important thing to them is getting you what you deserve at the end of the day. And you are treated like the main priority. You're not just brushed off. Oh, yeah, sounds good. Yeah, we'll get back to you. You walk out and you're like, did they even care about what I just said? Do they even listen to me? That does not happen with Habish, and Rotier. Check them out today at habish.com to learn more. Habish, and Rotier, national reputation and hometown service. All right, coming up next in the 4 o'clock hour, Green and Gold update time. Brought to you by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you.
Some shows talk about one team. Other shows barely talk sports. This show will talk Packers, Brewers, and Bucks. Every day. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
It is that time again, 4 o'clock hour number 3. If you ever miss anything on the shows, we broadcast live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. You can always go back, check it out at wisportsradio.com or wherever you download your favorite podcast at. Also, if you missed what happened on any of our shows with Wisconsin Sports Daily, text Sparky to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line at 414-677-1250 to get the link to today's show. Again, that's Sparky, Sparky, to the Nicolay Law Talk and text line, 414-677-1250. Plus, we stream this show live every day at WI Sports Radio on X, on YouTube, and on Instagram. Plus, on the Fan Milwaukee Facebook page as well, streaming live there too. So, all kinds of ways to watch the show, listen to the show, go back and watch or listen to the show. Try to make it as easy as possible for you. It is 4 o'clock, which means it's time for this.
It's time for your green and gold update on Wisconsin Sports Daily, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer.
Okay, so it is green and gold update time. Still to come, an interesting thing happening right now in the world of professional sports and how the NIL is really changing the game in professional sports. From what's happening in college sports to what's happening now in the NBA and the NFL and so forth. We'll jump into that in the second segment. Things that we missed on today's show. An unbelievable story about how a missed field goal potentially saved one man's life. And a big discussion about the three-point line in the NBA. Steve Kerr with a suggestion. Phil Jackson jumped in online on X last night with his own suggestion, which I'm convinced is brilliant. So we'll talk about all of that coming up in the last segment of the show. But here at 4 o'clock, back into talking about the Packers again. Does it feel like the Packers were draft weekend winners or losers in your mind? How do you feel about this year's draft compared to like the last couple of years' draft? Now, again, it's a little unfair because there is no one. There is no first-round pick. So any draft with a first-round pick probably is going to look better than any draft without a first-round pick, really, at the end of the day. Any draft without a first-round pick, it's going to make it feel harder to say, oh, yeah, they won. We're a bunch of winners coming out of draft weekend. It just feels harder that way. What say you? Nicolay Law Talk and text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Again, on the socials at WI Sports Radio. Also, YouTube Dugout Chat has been active as well. In Wisconsin, 2302, very, very active earlier in the show with all kinds of messages about Tommy Wirtz when Tommy Wirtz was on.
He said it was Tommy's fault. It's fun to pile on Tommy.
Yeah, it was all about Tommy earlier. But again, always there for you if you want to comment and interact with others. We'll read some of them on the air as well. Let me start with this. I think if you do this same topic a year from today about the 27 draft, more than likely everybody will feel really, really good and really, really excited about what happened. The reason is because they're going to have so many more draft picks. I mean, they're lining up to have like 10 draft picks next year based on compensation to get, on losing guys in free agency and so forth. So you're going to be in a way better position as far as accumulating more picks. Going into this draft here, I really, really firmly believed that there would be trade backs to accumulate more picks, to get more players to come out of this class, to have as many shots at getting a couple of these guys right as you possibly can have. And instead, Brian Gutekunst said, no, thanks. I'm going to go the opposite way, and I'm going to move up a couple of times and change this whole thing. I heard John Kuhn earlier today on 9 to noon, his first show back since he announced the second and third round picks at the NFL draft. And he said when they moved up to get McClellan, he was just chilling, talking with Jake Delhomme, the former Carolina Panthers quarterback. And all of a sudden they ran up and said, you got to go. Come on. And pulled him away. He's like, wait, we can trade up. Yeah, you traded up. Come on, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I think it was a girl that gave him the card. She goes, "Oh, you got lucky. This is an easy one." And he goes, "McClellan?" She goes, "Yep, McClellan. Out you go." And off he went. It was literally like that quick. Gets yanked out of a conversation. "You got to go. Come on, let's go."
Well, and at least he got his duties done earlier then. That's nice. You get off a little bit earlier, I guess, to just relax and watch the rest of the draft that night.
Relax. Are you really stressed about reading a card?
No, but you probably get a little nerve still. Even a guy like Kuhn who's talking all the time has been in stages like that.
Out there looking at you,
you
the
get
TV
a little
cameras.
butterflies in the tummy probably still.
Yeah, you're probably right about that. So for me, as we talked about yesterday, and y'all got mad at me, this was a class that maybe in probably 2 or 3 years you see an impact from potentially. You can see how Cisse may have an impact in a couple of years as he continues to work with NFL coaches and so forth because he is so athletically gifted, right? You see how that potentially can happen. The kid from Penn State, maybe they get more out of him because, again, if you look at the athletic numbers and then you watch the film, it doesn't make any sense to me. He should look way faster on film than what you actually see and what the numbers are. So maybe they figure out how to make that work more. Maybe Micah Parsons working with him helps get him even better at some point and he blows up in a couple of years. I don't know if it happens this year, but maybe it's in the second year. Maybe it's in the third year. Maybe you get to that point. The field goal kicker, Smack.
It's an awesome name.
Yeah, I just think of the cereal. So you get Smack in here. Now, if he unseats McManus and then kicks well, he might be the star of this draft class before it's all said and done. I mean, if he ends up having a Mason Crosby career where he's here for 12 to 15 years and kicking, you don't have to worry about the kicker position anymore because you gave up 2 7s to move up to the 6th. And Brian Gutekunst, they're not going to be able to set you for you drafting a kicker, but people are going to be like, hey, all right. And Brian Gutekunst will be extremely happy that he never has to worry about drafting a kicker, signing a kicker, trying out a kicker ever again, can move on and be done with this. So really, of all of them, he probably has the best chance of making an impact. Me personally, I think McManus wins this job. But if Smack does win the job, he definitely probably has the biggest impact this year.
Oh, I think so. And I think that we talked about yesterday, the 7th round picks that Brian Gutekunst used to trade up to get Smack, a lot of other teams are going to start following that and just say, if there's a player you want in the 5th, 6th, 7th round, just trade up and get him. Just go and get him, because if you feel like that's a guy that's worth going to get that, the 7th round picks aren't valuable. Right now, what we're seeing is just, it's a strange change that a lot of these teams, I think, are going to be more aggressive in the way that Brian Gutekunst was.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Let's get to some phone calls here. Asking you, does it feel like the Packers were draft weekend winners or losers in your mind? Based on the response yesterday in the 2 o'clock hour, I would assume all of you are going to say winners, and they did a great job, A+, all that other stuff. Even after I tried to explain my side, even after Chad Ryder came on and agreed with what I said, I still feel like we're all going to say, now, I'm not going to call them losers. Let me just be very specific on this. I'm not calling them losers. I think they did the best at what they could with filling holes. If the deal with this draft was to fill our holes, I think you give them an A for filling the holes. Now, how good are these players that he filled the holes with? We'll find out. But he definitely played for this year. This was not Jordan Love, A.J. Dillon, and that's not what this draft was. This draft was to help now in the next couple of years. This was not a play for the future necessarily. Nikolai Law talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. Let's go to Brian, south side of Milwaukee. You're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily with me, Steve Sparky Pfeiffer. What's up, Brian?
Yeah, so I mean, definitely not a loss in the draft. I think they did more positive moves than anything. Obviously, they've gotten about 3, maybe 4 guys that can certainly help them this year. Their first 2 picks obviously are going to be maybe not starters, but they're going to play some significant roles this year. The kid from Penn State, it depends how he, looks and plays. He could also have some. I mean, there's opportunity there for him to get some time with what they've got. And then, of course, the kicker, depending on that, he could be their kicker of the future for the next 10, 12 years.
Yeah, and that's the thing. To me, that's what it comes down to, Brian. I appreciate it. Thanks for the call. That's the biggest thing. to me of all of this. Now, could Cisse end up being starting cornerback for a long time? Could McClellan be a rotational guy for 10 years in Green Bay and just hang out and be one of those guys that rotates in and out? Maybe doesn't ever get the mega contract, but good enough to stay here and be, set for the rest of his life. Yeah, could be. That very well could happen. But odds are the guy that's probably has the potential to be the biggest impact still, as crazy as this sounds, may be the kicker. From an athletic standpoint, Cisse is probably the best guy in this draft as far as everything he potentially could provide you. It's just a matter of whether or not they can have him put it all together.
Right. And how quickly you can have him put it all together,
right.
too. Like, is he going to be a strong part, a top 3 corner on this team by midway through the season, by training camp, by next season? Like, there's a lot of questions that still come with a player like that and whether or not he's going to be ready to go. I look at this draft class, and I guess I wouldn't say they were exactly losers, but I think it was pretty hard to kind of be a loser in this draft. I also think it was kind of hard to be a winner in this draft, too. I think the teams that won and a lot of the teams that people are talking about are just the teams that had the most draft picks. A lot of people keep talking about the Cleveland Browns being winners. They had 10 draft picks, like we're talking about the Packers potentially having next year. I think it's pretty hard to lose a draft where the talent is all just kind of muddled together. There's not really a lot of true standouts. There's not really a lot of true bottoms. Just grab as much talent as you can. And like you talked about, I don't know if I was exactly excited by the fact that the Green Bay Packers moved up a couple times when you could have just kept adding talent. Now they've already hit the undrafted free agent room, got a wide receiver there, but you need to do more still. And I think it's coming. I just am not fully convinced this was a winner either.
Well, we're going to find out. And again, the other part about this is what validates a win. I think in large part, you can't validate a win for 3 to 5 years. Once you get through that first contract cycle, right? So like Devontae Wyatt's class. Mm-hmm. Now we can talk about, was that a great draft class, a good draft class, or a bad draft class? Because now he's on his 5th-year option. Quay Walker is already gone. So you can evaluate that class. So you really technically aren't going to know this class for another 4 to 5 years, really, of what this is. You can't, in my opinion, y'all can disagree. I don't think you could say if Cisse doesn't get a ton of snaps this year and McClellan rotates in but doesn't have any sacks and the kid from Penn State doesn't have a lot of sacks and all that and go, wow, this draft class sucked. Give it an F. Like, that's a complete overreaction and not to be had at this point. And you have to give this thing time to play itself out and see how big of an improvement you can make from year 1 to year 2 to year 3. Now, after year 3, in my opinion, most of these dudes at that point are who they are. Like, there might be some more improvement, but the biggest improvements probably come in those first 2 off seasons. And if you don't see gigantic improvements or sizable improvements between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3, that's what you have. And then you probably have a more fair chance of making that evaluation at that point.
Well, and I think the perception of this draft class really kind of relies on the past 2 draft classes and how they do this year for the Green Bay Packers, most notably those 2 first-round picks in Jordan Morgan and Matthew Golden in bigger roles this season. I think if those guys underperform, people are a lot more liable to freak out about this year's draft class faster because these guys, you want them to have bigger impacts if those past draft classes aren't having bigger impacts. Matthew Golden can come out and be a true top 3 wide receiver for this team. If Jordan Morgan is a solid left tackle and can go out there and be better than what we've seen from him at guard, I think it overshadows this year's draft class, and these guys won't have as much pressure on them. But I think, again, if these guys are failing, people go to Brian Gutekunst and say, why did we not get players that were maybe more ready for the Packers to play right away? Yes, maybe they weren't as athletically gifted, but at the same time, they were ready to go. I think the criticism then grows for this year's group faster.
Here's Charlie Uses. He's Sparky Fiber with you. Nicolay Law Talk and text line asking you, does it feel like the Packers were draft weekend winners or losers? 414-677-1250 from the 414. Winners in the draft, but people need to keep perspective that all we did was create holes in the roster, then fill those holes. Not sure we're that much better in 2026. That's a whole nother topic for another day in time as far as, is this roster better than last year's? From the 414, Dave in Cudahy, talking about Dennis Sutton from Penn State, has the most athletic upside. Dude's RAS is off the charts, and you can't say you lost because you've got Parsons. Dave in Cudahy. That is a great point as far as Parsons go. And I agree with you on the RAS with him. I'm just telling you, you can feel free to disagree. When you watch him, it does not look like he is an athletic freak. The numbers say he is, but when you watch him, it does not look that way. Because if it looked that way, he would have been a first-round pick. He would not have fallen to the 4th round, right? So when you take a guy like this, you're gambling not very much. I mean, it's a 4th-round pick. But when you take a guy like this on day 3, you're gambling that your coaches can get more out of him that match up to what his athletic numbers say he should be that Penn State wasn't able to get out of him. That's what you're hoping for. And if you could unlock it, you could be a stud. If you could unlock it and make it all work out. Ben in Waukesha, you're next on Wisconsin Sports Daily. What's going on, Ben?
Yeah, I just wanted to touch quick on it. I think they did pretty well. My favorite pick of the draft is going to be Jagger Burton. I think he's going to have the biggest impact and possibly have an impact this year. So that's pretty much all I want to say. Just want to get your take on it.
All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate it. I heard Brandon Snott earlier today. I was laughing in my car. I was laughing. Listen, this Jagger Burton guy that they got, okay, he didn't get drafted in the 1st round. He didn't get drafted in the 2nd round. He didn't get drafted in the 3rd round. And I'm listening to Snide talk about potentially him coming in and starting at center. And then Sean Ryan is at guard, his more natural position and so forth. I'm driving. I'm like, man, how? Why? Where? From what angle are we going at this from? And John Kuhn's like, Brian, that's the most mentally and physically challenging position on the field. Like, there's a big mental toll that goes with playing that position. Now, maybe this dude comes in and does what Brandon Snide says, but to put that much stock in what you think he can be, what was he, a 5th-round pick? Mm-hmm. To come in and do that? I mean, Jacob Monk didn't come in there and do that. He certainly didn't, and you liked him.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, he's going to come in and battle Monk, and they're going to battle for reps and who is that backup guy, and then we'll see what happens with him. I don't think he can unseat Belton at right guard either. I think he legitimately is a swing guy on the inside if he plays well enough to be a swing guy. I mean, I could see a world where he's inactive on game days when the season starts until he gets everything down.
Mm-hmm. And I think, I guess, to defend Brandon a little bit, if Brandon's right and Jagger Burton can't come in and be that type of player, that you have an all-pro in your hands.
Complete game changer.
Like, that's these guys that can come in and be centers immediately. They are immediately some of the best in the league. You see it with, like, Creed Humphrey in Kansas City and what he was able to do right away. We were talking about Tyler Linderbaum all season long. Now, those guys were first-round picks, so that's a little bit different. He gets a little bit more of a guarantee. But if you get through training camp, if you get through this offseason and say he's the best person at center, and he shows it in the first preseason game, in the first couple games of the regular season, I mean, that's a steal of the past 5 years for this Packers team.
Yes. Then no matter what the kicker does, it does not matter because then we're talking about this kid.
Exactly.
And that guy being an absolute stud.
And then you got a center to slide in right away for Jordan Love to make him feel more comfortable instead of having 4 different guys play the position over the past couple years. Like that really helps.
That's a big ask. From the 414 A+ draft, Cisse will be an all-pro. I nominate Sparky for plead the 5th for his horrible take. That's fine. You can nominate me. That's fine. Friday, 420. We do it every Friday. You can nominate people on the station you're listening to. You can nominate people in sports. You can nominate your mama, your papa, your grandparents, your brother, your sister. Doesn't matter to me who you nominate. Nominate whoever. Just make sure you tell us who you're nominating and why. And if there is sound attached to it, like one of us or somebody else, Charlie then can go back and find the sound, and then we can play it when we do plead the 5th. And all that is just telling somebody to hush it. You're talking too much. You're embarrassing yourself. Like he's saying I'm doing, or she is. That's the other reason I don't like the text line, because you don't know if it's a guy or girl, regardless. Cisse, because I said I don't think he's going to make that big of an impact. I think it's going to take a little while to figure this out for him. So you can do the exact same thing. 420 every Friday, brought to you by Havish and Rotier, national reputation. And again, that hometown service that is unmatched. Absolutely love that. Let's see what else we got here. Got a bunch of different things coming in. Packers love that relative athletic score. Sometimes it works and other times it don't. I don't believe McClellan had a good athletic score, relative athletic score. I think his number was like 6 something. It was not in the 9 range like they typically like. So sometimes they will go that route. But more times than not, if that relative athletic score is not good, even though Brian Gutekunst always said last year, remember he was asked about this? Yeah, I know what it is, but we don't use that. We have our own system. Okay, well, I bet you that system is very close to this relative athletic score that they have out there now.
McClellan had an 8.48.
Oh, so
he
that's
still had
more.
a really good score.
So he did. Okay,
his
good.
composite size grade was what got him up there. His other like speed and explosion grades are more middling, but apparently he has a great height, great weight for the position.
Now, again, you can take that relative athletic score and you can say it works. But I can always point at guys that I liked in the draft that they didn't take because of that. I loved Bucky Irving coming out. As Charlie will tell you, his relative athletic score, I think like a 3 or something. It was horrible. So they didn't take him. I love Tavondre Sweat. I wanted them to take Tavondre Sweat, the big defensive tackle. Another garbage relative athletic score. And they didn't take him either, and he worked out fine.
But both those guys have dealt with injuries to start off their careers, and that allows.
But does that connect with a relative athletic score?
I think if you're not the most athletic person, it can result in injuries in football. I think you get caught under guys a little easier. You don't move nearly as well. Like there's things to it that I think do result in getting injured versus staying healthy for longer periods.
Somebody needs to do a study on that. I need more research done on that before I'm buying into that. I mean, it makes sense. As you're saying it, it's like, okay, yeah, he makes sense. I just don't know if there's any correlation necessarily. Factually, I don't know if there's correlation. All right, take a quick time. I'll come back on the other side. Some interesting things going on in pro sports and how they're being affected, namely football and basketball, by these new NIL deals and what it's been meaning for drafts for both leagues, NBA and NFL. We'll dive into that coming up next. That's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. See Sparky Fifer with you. Charlie Usen, other side of the glass, producing today's show. Think Sparky missed coming up here in the last segment of the show. That is the leadoff show with a big old hunk of love. Tommy Wirtz will be in here from 5 until 6:30, getting ready for Brewers and D-backs tonight. Then after the last pitch, you'll make the switch to the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with Tim Allen and Tommy Wirtz tonight from 9:30 to 11. Looking forward to hearing those gentlemen again. Did you see what happened on their show? I think it was Saturday night. Did you see what happened?
I don't think I did.
You didn't hear about what happened?
I don't think so. Nobody's said anything about it.
Man, there was some craziness going on. I don't know exactly what led to it, but Tim Allen started shaking the Trader's bobblehead so quickly and hard that he popped the head right off the bobblehead and went like rolling on the ground. It wasn't pretty. And now the question is whether or not that is jinxed the Trader, or will it be a reverse jinx that hurts us? And now the Traders team gets going. And that was Saturday night. And I believe the Cubs lost that game in extra innings. They lost Sunday.
And they lost last night.
And they lost last night to the Padres.
Despite ending Mason Miller's scoreless inning streak. So, that's kind of a win, right? That's
Matthew Boyd did not look good last night.
No,
I watched the first 5 innings of that game. He did not look good.
And the offense keeps doing it. Moises Ballesteros looks awesome.
That dude, man.
He's got such a sweet swing. I know that's what everybody's saying.
Grand slam last night.
He's got something to do with it.
God, he is a good hitter. He is a really, really good hitter. There is no question about that. All right. I want to talk a little bit about NIL and what is going on right now in professional sports. Now, we talked about this a little bit yesterday about Andrew Brandt's comments talking about, hey, man, like I think he was talking to a scout that said, round 6 and round 7 have been completely obliterated because guys that would be in round 6 or round 7 in the NFL draft are no longer in the NFL draft because they're staying in to make more money in the NIL, which then explains why a Gutekunst got himself out of the 7th with 2 7th-round picks to go get a kicker in the 6th. Because if there's not a big disparity in the 6th and 7th round versus a guy you're going to get in the undrafted free agency for less money, why hold on to the picks? Why not just go sign guys you want in undrafted free agency for a lot less money at that point, Charlie?
Well, and then go and get positions like kicker where you can just have a guy like that now that you drafted him a little higher than maybe you would have if you just like let him go to the 7th round. Or if you were to get him as an undrafted free agent, now you got him for 3 years and that you can keep him tied in longer. Again, just go and get the guys that you're going to get. You know that you want to get. Other teams, yes, maybe aggressive too for the same kind of player, but it's the 5th, 6th, 7th round. People can find other guys that they like on their draft boards at that moment. It just felt like teams weren't caring as much in that day 3 of the draft, which just felt weird a little bit.
So last night or yesterday after, I guess it was 4:30 yesterday afternoon, Jonathan Giovanni, who does stuff for ESPN, he's the one that created the Draft Express website and ran that for a number of years. Back when he was starting out, we crossed paths with him a couple of times back in the day as well. He puts out this post yesterday. The NIL era is flipping the NBA draft on its head. Only 71 players entered the 2026 NBA draft per the NBA, down from 106 last year. That was 2025.
Crazy.
How many players do you think entered the draft at its peak in 2021? 101 last year, 71 this year.
I would say, 180. I'll say around there.
180?
Yeah.
More.
More than that. 220.
More.
300.
More.
400.
363.
Getting close.
363 kids entered that draft in 2021. It was 2 rounds. It wasn't 40 rounds. It was 2 rounds. And 363 kids thought they were going to have a chance to play in the NBA. Holy cow, right?
That's insane. Yeah.
The lowest early entrant total since 2003. That was where early entrants, 71 early entrants into the draft. 106 last year, 363 underclassmen in 2021. That's the lowest early entrant total since 2003.
Wow. That's absurd. Well, I mean, you look at the guys that were declaring this year, and AJ Dybantsa officially announced he's going to be a part of the NBA draft, that he was going to declare for it. But it took him a while to get that
Peterson.
point. And first, he said that he was going to stay at BYU
because his mama wanted him to. Right.
So he had said that he was going to stay one more year, and then it comes out that he decided for the draft. Like, these guys, it's a tougher decision, even for the guys at the top of the draft. So if it's a tough decision for those guys, these guys that are getting paid $1 million by their school, these guys that are getting paid $750,000 by their school, they're going to take that over an NBA job that's not guaranteed to them when they're a late first round pick even.
Now let's have the conversation about whether or not this is good or bad for the NBA, right? Is this good or bad for the NBA at the end of the day? This is why I think this is actually really, really good. Because especially for the NBA, now I get more polished players staying longer. Now, instead of getting that freshman that truly isn't ready and may end up in the G League or something like that, battling to get ready, now that player gets to stay in college and get another year of coaching before putting themselves in. That player, mark my words, you're going to start hearing stories. I bet you in the next 3 years. I mean, hell, you heard it this year in the NFL draft. Like, if Mendoza's at California, he's probably not number 1 overall if he doesn't move schools to go get coaching at Indiana and get on that rundown.
Too,
right.
Yeah.
That's another one. So you're already seeing it in the NFL. You're going to see it in college basketball, where these freshmen that may have come out, if it was a few years ago, not get drafted, end up in the G League, or end up just completely done with basketball, or going to play in Europe and struggling to hold on and try to figure out how to keep their basketball career alive and completely being mad at themselves for leaving college early. Now those same kids stay in, they get their bag, $1 million, $500,000, whatever it is. They get another year of coaching, potentially maybe at a better school, or they stay at the school they're at and get better, and then potentially get in a position to not only get drafted, but potentially get drafted in the first round, get guaranteed money, get a guaranteed contract, and be able to contribute right away when coming in. I mean, if you go back to the days like Jermaine O'Neal back in the days with Portland, that kid wasn't ready to play at 18. There was no chance he was ready to play. It took 2-3 years before physically he got to where he needed to go. A lot of those guys that came out of high school were not ready, but because they were first-round picks, got forced out there, and the sport was suffering for it greatly because there were a bunch of kids that simply did not know how to play the game. They were not fundamentally sound. They couldn't hit anything jumper-wise. It was horrible to watch. Now, with the way this is going, now you're allowing to get that extra polish. I think this benefits the NBA tremendously. I think it benefits the kid as well, because Jim McIlvaine posted on that comment on the post, Giovanni. Jim McIlvaine, of course, longtime Marquette legend, I guess you could say, back in the day, was a radio analyst for a long time with Homer. And McIlvaine talks about APR and graduation rates. And what does that mean now with all this NIL money? I have no idea. I don't know what those numbers look like or anything else. And I don't know, because I saw one post. Oh, man, I forgot who it was for. But one kid that was in high school had like a 1 for the GPA. And then in college has like a 4 GPA.
Arvell Reese talked about that for the NFL draft. He was like saying that his first year at Ohio State, he had like a 0.7 and got all the way up to a 3.8 within like a year and a half. And that was, all because of Ryan Day and the coaching staff. He gave credit to them.
I'm sure he should have given credit to them as well. Now, again, I'm not going to sit here and say they're messing with stuff or whatever the case may be. But Charlie and I discussed this a couple of weeks ago. When was the last time you heard a player academically ineligible that was a star-level player in college sports that sat out and did not play? Raise your hand and tell me the last time you heard it.
You barely hear that in like high school nowadays. They find out how to get those guys on the field even at the high school level.
Right. So it doesn't matter that your GPA sucks in college, because they're going to figure out a way to make sure you go out there and play, because it's business. It's big money business at this point. But you know what? Even if I take you and put you in a classroom and you just sit there and stare into space, maybe through osmosis, you might learn something at some point. So being in that culture, in that atmosphere may still be beneficial to you besides getting better as a basketball player, getting better as a football player or whatever. I think it's a win-win. I think it's a win-win for the kid, and I think it's a win-win for the pro leagues as well.
I don't know. I think this is good for the game of basketball. I don't know if this is good for the NBA directly. And I think that.
Why is that?
Well, because the NBA has spent the past 15 years trying to get these kids to commit to the NBA before committing to college. That's why they allowed 19-year-olds and high schoolers to go straight into the G League, because they wanted those kids to still do that. When they were getting Jermaine O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, they didn't really care that those guys
were high school kids. Kevin Garnett,
they
straight
didn't
out
really
of high
care
school.
that those guys were bad. They just cared that they got those guys to say they're NBA players before saying they're college players. They like having the names around. They like having these players be as quick to the NBA as possible. And again, that's why they opened up the G League to that point, to get the high schoolers in. I don't think they flipped their mindset like that. I think the NBA is trying as hard as possible to take and control the basketball market right now. And I feel like they're losing that. And I think if you can get these players to commit to the NBA faster, you can get there. And also these younger kids that are getting to the NBA, even if there's 6 men on their college basketball teams after 1 year, like Devin Booker was when he came into the
Marvin
draft.
Williams in North Carolina was a 6th man, and he was the number 2 pick in the draft.
Those guys still figure out how to be successful to some degree in the NBA. And that's what the NBA is looking at. And they say that nowadays, yeah, Jermaine O'Neal took a couple of years, but Devin Booker was good right away, and he wasn't even a star on his college team. Anthony Davis comes in super young after 1 year as a star on his NBA team. Like, these guys are figuring it out a lot faster.
That's great. You took the elite and used that as your example. Now take the guys from 2021, the 363 or whatever it was, and tell me about the 300 guys that weren't drafted as underclassmen, and tell me how all 300 of those players are doing right now. I would bet of those 300 players.
If they're going back to college, we talk about it all the time. Again, 5 years ago, if you spend 4 years in college and you're not going to play in the NBA, then that means you're not good enough to play in the NBA.
These are underclassmen, right? So these are freshmen and sophomores and juniors, essentially, that all come out. So now we're talking about whatever it is, 60 guys get drafted, right? So over 300 guys did not get drafted in that 21 class that entered the draft. Now, what happened to those 300 guys? How many of those players are still playing basketball? That was 5 years ago. How many of those players are still playing basketball professionally that did not get drafted in the NBA that year? How many of those guys went back to school, and how many of those guys did neither and are potentially struggling right now?
Well, and I would assume that was.
I don't know the numbers. I have no idea.
When you put yourself through that draft process still too, though, I think that in 2021, it was easier than get foreign scouts looking at you. Nowadays, again, a lot of these foreign players that are playing for these pro teams are just going to college basketball. So I think you just automatically get those eyes on you in college basketball. You don't need to go through the draft process to get extra eyes on you, because those eyes are always watching now. Now you can just keep proving yourself in college. And then if you're still not good enough to make to the NBA, which a lot of these guys probably just aren't, only 60 guys get drafted and half those guys barely ever see an NBA floor, you can just get seen by these foreign teams earlier.
Charlie, you just hit another good point. Back in the day, they didn't come over and play college. Want to know why? Because they were fundamentally more sound than what they were coming from straight out of high school. So they looked more fundamentally sound and more ready to play than did the high school kids coming out of the U.S., right? So that gave them the advantage. Dirk Nowitzki walks in. He didn't go play college basketball. These guys were walking in. Now, that's not necessarily the case anymore. So now these kids are going, screw this. I'm not going to go there and potentially slide and maybe not get drafted or go later than I thought. I'm going to go get $1 million from Wisconsin and go play for the Badgers for a year and work on getting that money guaranteed for me and my family, wherever I may live, over wherever. And then if I'm going to go in the NBA draft, great. The other way around, if I go in, I don't get drafted, or I do, I slide and I'm out. Now I got to come back with my tail between my legs back home and try and catch on with the European team and then try and make it work there. I think it's even changed them as far as how many of those guys consider entering the NBA draft now versus how many of them now are talking about coming and playing college basketball in the U.S.
For sure. Well, and I think the other side of it is that I think when you were a guaranteed kind of top guy out of a international team, you were just guaranteed to kind of get drafted at that point. Nowadays, you can be a top guy, and because I think the United States talent and the college talent is just a lot better overall, you're seeing a lot more teams be competitive or be able to bring in guys and then become competitive, that you are fighting with a lot bigger of a pool of players from the United States. So you have to come and prove yourself over there too. It's not the same. I guess you could be a really good player in Germany like Dirk Nowitzki was, and it was like, all right, we're sold because you're the best player over there. You need to prove yourself a little bit more now too.
Yeah, to a degree. I think you're absolutely right about having to prove yourself a little bit more than you did before. Coming up next, things that we missed on today's show. One thing we never miss is talking about Potawatomi, baby. Step up to the plate and take a shot at winning major prizes in the $300,000 Big League Series at Potawatomi Casino Hotel Milwaukee. April through June, you could win a share of $300,000 in prizes. All monthly promo entries count towards the grand finale drawings on June 26th. Get triple the entries during Brewers home games and score one of 3 all-new Toyota vehicles. More info online. Must be 21 and a rewards member to play. Only at Potawatomi. Things we missed coming up next. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Sparky with you. Welcome in. It is Wisconsin Sports Daily. Steve Sparky Fiber with you. Coming up, leadoff show with Tommy Wirtz, the big old hunk of love. Get you ready for Brewers D-backs tonight. 5 o'clock start for that show. Taking you up to 6:30. First pitch, I think, is 6:40, I believe, tonight. Then after the last pitch, you make the switch right back here to the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network for the Potawatomi Sportsbook post-game show with the franchise, Tim Allen, and the one and only Tommy Wirtz, taking your calls and so forth tonight from 9:30 to 11, and it will be a fun one coming up tonight. Hopefully, the Brewers can get back-to-back victories. That would be, is that considered a winning streak if you get to 2 wins?
No, I think it's 3 wins.
3 makes it a winning streak? Yeah, that's fine. Whatever we want to go about that and say that is completely fine with me, and that is completely good. Some of the things that we missed on today's show. First thing that we missed is this story that I can absolutely not get over, and it just blows my mind. Ari Marov, who is obviously on social media and so forth, is pretty crazy story. A man in Kentucky laughed so hard at a botched Young Hoku field goal last season that it triggered a seizure, sending him to the hospital where doctors discovered a tennis ball-sized brain tumor. The tumor was removed and was deemed not cancerous. The man believes that missed kick saved his life. And yes, it is a real story put out by the Associated Press.
You gotta have the most mixed emotions possible if you're a Young Wei-Koo. That's insane. First of all, you made him laugh so hard that he had a seizure. But then, yeah, you probably did help him see that he had the tumor, or the doctor see that he had the tumor. I mean, you got to feel weird about it. Send him a jersey wherever Young Wei-Koo is now, if he's even on the team. I think he was on the Giants end of the season last year. But send him a jersey.
Again, you were so bad, you saved a man's life.
That's just awesome. That's awesome, but it sucks at the same time.
That's pretty much what we're talking about. You were so bad that you saved a man's life at the end of the day, which is pretty crazy. Another thing that I wanted to get to today, Steve Kerr in the New Yorker said he would never do a 4-point play. In fact, he would even consider getting rid of the 3-point line. Quote, I just think that the game as it was designed is really to create the best shots possible. That's why in the early days, you just throw it inside to the big guy. A 3-point line came from the ABA in 1979. I think it was really effective. It makes for an exciting play, but the analytics revolution has created a weird situation where we all know exactly where the highest efficiency shots are. Layups and corner threes, because the corner 3 is 22 feet and not 23 and 9 inches like the above the break. You have those whole no man's land between those areas. So if you shoot a 22-footer now from the top of the key, that's considered a really bad shot. I just wonder, and I don't know if this would work or not, if we got rid of the 3-point line, if it would diversify the way everybody would play and create a lot of different creative solutions to basketball. Phil Jackson, commented back and said, 15 years I've been asking the NBA Rules Committee to widen the court apron. Corner shot becomes 23 feet, 9 inches. Charlie and I discussed this before the show. I love that idea.
I don't know.
It's expensive because now you're taking out a row of seats in every stadium.
You're also just changing the game completely.
Yes.
That's going to be a huge change that doesn't just happen in an offseason.
Man, you widen the court, it just becomes more of a wide open game, more of an exciting game. And now those corner threes aren't givens anymore.
Analytics to find out how to cheat the game that way too.
All of a sudden,
that's what sports are now.
Threes will stop being shot. That's what will happen. They will not shoot as many, but guarantee your bottom but that. Up next, Tommy Wirtz, Big Hunk of Love, the leadoff show. It's Wisconsin Sports Daily, live from Wisconsin Sports Radio Network studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Enjoy the rest of your night, Wisconsin. Toodles.